going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be watching the how Madden NFL became a gaming empire. I said I was going to watch that last week. We're going to watch it this week. We're also going to watch part 2 of the Power On, the Story of Xbox, Chapter 2, the Valentine's Day Massacre. And then if you have time, because both of these videos are pretty long, we'll have another video I came across from a channel that I've never watched before called Gaming Dad Legends. He's got 19,000 and a half subscribers. So if you have time, we'll watch his video as well. His video is called Gaming Over 40, the truth that nobody talks about. So we'll talk about that as well if we have time. What's going on, chap? How's everyone doing? Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. I played a lot of Starship Troopers Extermination, okay, this weekend. I must have put in maybe 15, 17 hours, something like that, into it. I've been playing a lot of games. I played a lot of different games this weekend, but I put a lot of time into that. I went back and played some Gears of War E-Day. E-Day, fun. Again, I didn't want to burn myself out. So I played a couple of games, tried a different class, and then I said, all right, I'm going to put it down until it comes out. I played some Grand Theft Auto 5 because last week, Brain Eclipse, as we were done playing Halo, was like, hey, we should do a heist or something in Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, all right. So I tried it out on my new computer, and holy Christ, let me tell you something. I love that I can play it at basically uncapped frames, but a consistent frame rate, and it looks fucking phenomenal, right? And that's a game that's 13 years old. Then I played some Star Wars Battlefront 2. Okay, I played some Battlefront 2 on PC as well, and holy Christ, I mean, it's just as beautiful, but it runs much smoother on my PC. Then what else were we playing? I played a new game. Well, it's not out yet. It's called Horde Guard. Okay, Horde Guard is a top-down. It almost seems like an RTS type of thing, but it's not. Okay, like you control one person, and you have to. It's like a tower defense game. Okay, but it's also a roguelike type of mechanic in there as well. So you have different waves that you have to beat, and if you fail, obviously you don't go on to the next level. But you have to continue wave after wave after wave. You have to protect your little village from, swarms of hordes of people. And then each wave gets harder and harder. Okay. But then you have to go around the island. And then there's like the center of the island is like a timer. As soon as it's called Horde Guard, just enough. Right. So then you go back in towards your center, and you have to keep upgrading your main building, your towers, your defenses. You buy people like you're playing like a World of Warcraft type of thing, right? And you have like archers and you have warriors. It's actually a pretty good balance. I might play that tonight just to show you guys what it is. It's actually pretty interesting. It's different. There's a demo right now on Steam that you can check out. It's called Horde Guard. I have no sponsorship or anything like that. I happened to see it yesterday. I saw a trailer of it, and I was like, oh, let me see what that is. And then there was a demo. So I played the demo, or play test, whatever it's called. You can play, I want to say two levels, and in each side level, you can do 2 in one and 1 in the other. So like three boards total. So a lot of fun. And then I've been playing, like I said, Starship Troopers, and I'm playing it on PC, because every time I played it on console, it would fucking crash. Well, I've been playing a shit ton of it, and it's so much fun. And now that it's not like a stuttery freaking mess as I'm playing it, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. So they've improved that game a lot over the 2 years that we've played it. So that's what I did this weekend. All right, let me see what you guys are all talking about and saying hey. What's going on, Altern? Good morning. Good morning, Travis. Good morning, Sarge. Good morning, Water. Just enough. Altern, Ward, Tarnish. Good morning. What else we got going on here? Eclipse. Mr. Luke. Good morning. Argus. Good morning. Yeah, when you were talking, Travis, I was like, Midnight sounds a lot like Travis. And it's weird to think about that because you guys are just typing. What's going on, Shadow? I was like, the way he's talking to people, it's like he's been here before. And I was like, who is he? I was like, it's got to be someone we know. That's why I asked. I was like, are you on an alt account? Sometimes people come in the chat and they forget they're on a different account or whatever. Warbear says, currently playing Mortal Shells. Mortal Shells and getting interrupted by work and people calling me about their business issues. Who needs that? Yeah. Miss Luke says, which one? Your roommate was playing it? Playing what? The guard one? Let's see. Oh, it's like a whole new world. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you played E-Day? You like the medic? I like the, what was it? The assault? I leveled that one all the way up. I like sniper as well. I mean, medic is good. I'm interested in that game when it comes out. Obviously, I'm not paying full price for it, so I'm just going to be playing it on Game Pass. Let me see what else you guys are talking about here. Is Horde Guard the brother of High Guard? No, has nothing. Here, I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up so you guys can see what it looks like. There's a trailer they showed yesterday. I'll show you what it is. I know you're looking at it right now and you're thinking, "Oh, it's like StarCraft, it's like Warcraft." It's like it's not. It's literally a tower defense, but it's got a nice little different mechanic to it.
They are coming. But you will be ready.
So you control the one guy, right? You control the one guy, and you have to build the town, build your defenses up, okay? So you got to get resources. You got to chop down trees, so it's hitting me there, right? So you got to chop down trees, stone, gold, and whatnot. You got to go save people around the island.
You'll have to keep fighting.
You get the gold to buy other warriors and archers and stuff like that.
Again. And again. And again. And... Oh, crap. Odin, lend us your strength. Transform your village into a stronghold. Prepare your defenses. Harness divine power. Bolster your ranks, because every victory brings another battle. You must hold the line.
It actually tells you just enough to use a controller. It's got controller support. It literally says use a controller. But you would use WASD. Yeah, so just try that yesterday. A lot of fun. And it's different, right? It's different. It's not a typical game. There's a nice little loop there, though, because there's always something that you can be upgrading. And while you're in the town, the time is ticking down. But if you leave the town, you can't do the resources and stuff, but you can go collect, smash boxes, go fight the enemy outside of your zone. But once you go in that zone, it's like a countdown of like a minute or a minute and a half. Okay. And every time you're in there, you can chop your trees down. You can get the stone. You can get the gold within your boundaries. But once you leave that boundary, you can't chop anything. You can't farm anything, but you can explore, save people, fight the enemy, find chests and different things that can give you upgrades so you can upgrade your actual abilities and stuff like that. And then when you go back into town, the timer starts ticking again. So it's pretty interesting. And it doesn't reset. So let's say it's a minute. you leave town, there's 55 seconds left. When you come back in, there'll still be 55 seconds left. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, it's actually pretty well done. I like it a lot. I was like, oh, see, this is what I love. That this wasn't on my radar until about 30 seconds ago. And then I played it and I was like, oh, okay. Now it all depends on, did I have enough fun? I played the demo, right? I would like to buy this game, but now I need to know what the price is, right? If this is a $30 game, maybe. $20 instant buy for a game like this for me, right? If this is more than that, I'll be like, I'll wait for it to go on sale, but I'll pick it up down the road. Yeah, the playtest demo, whatever it is, there's enough there to teach you what's going on, and it's fun. There's a good loop there. There's a good loop there. All right. 30 gets an upgraded computer, and now all the indies have opened up to him. Well, I mean, let's be fair. It was hard for me to play PC games while I was streaming. Now I can. So now the whole, someone opened the door and was like, hey, did you see all these? I'm like, what's that? Holy shit. And then I walked into the room and I'm like, this is amazing. Now I'm going back and playing games I couldn't play because of graphics, right? Because of the processing power. Now I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, 60 frames per second, maxed out graphics, cruising around going, oh, this is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty fun. We can now play Jump Space on PC. Yeah, stuff like that. All right, we're going to jump into Madden because I wanted to watch this last week. And then we're going to jump into Chapter 2 of the Xbox story. I love watching stuff like this. Now, this is 41 minutes, okay? Almost 42 minutes long. So we're going to get started. Obviously, we're going to be pausing and whatnot.
Football, America's favorite sport. Since the 1970s.
Let's start off here. Let's just start off here by I absolutely loved Madden football, right? I loved all football games back in the day, even Temco Bowl back in the day, NES, what was that? Super NES football, right? Where it was like tilted to the side and you were like running on an angle. You had Joe Montana, you had John Elway, you had so many different football games, and then John Madden came in, NFL Blitz, right? You had Madden come in, and I played it on the Sega Genesis, man. And the Sega Genesis, it fucking blew me away. I was like, this is a boom, y'all is back, right? Like the ambulance would pop up and they run over people to try to save people, when they got injured. And it just opened up, and I bought, it had to be every single Madden, right? Up until a point when I went to college, okay? And I was in a tournament. I won a television set. It was a big fucking television set. After that, I got a job doing play testing for them, and I think that's what ruined it for me. I'll be honest with you, right? I was a play tester. I played Madden football. This is going back to 2002, which would be 2003 Madden football. And since then, I think the last one I bought was 2009 with the Brett Favre on the cover, where he left the Green Bay Packers, okay, and became like a Jet. That was the last one I purchased on purpose, okay? After that, I owned 2011, but I got that because I got the Sunday ticket, and they gave it to me for free, right? So I didn't even buy Madden, but I got Madden 2011, right? And I love sports games. I used to love all the sports games, baseball, basketball, hockey. I played them all. I just got burnt out. And then the microtransactions started kicking in, and I was like happy that I wasn't playing these games anymore because I was just like, they completely sucked the fun out of it and tried to, I used to be in leagues. I used to be in literally like a MLB league for 2K. I used to be in a league for football. We used to do like fantasy football type of stuff, and we have matches and meet up with people online and play games and then mark it down and say, oh, I won and lost and keep track of all this shit. And then now Madden is like, you think of Madden, you're like, what a joke. I think Madden himself, if he was still alive, he'd be pissed off with the way they're doing it. But that's just me, right? Just my thought. Let's watch it.
The National Football League has dominated the U.S. sporting landscape with hundreds of millions of fans tuning in weekly to watch their favorite team beat on each other.
It's America's game.
fans sought ways to replicate the bone-crushing excitement.
You put a player on there and someone would do nothing. It was ridiculous.
But as the digital world grew, one man,
Trip Hawkins, he sees the potential.
Put it all on the line.
How are you going to do that?
Was that Larry Bird? What was that? Was that Malone? Was it Malone versus Bird? I forget what that one was.
With dirty tricks.
I ran a clean room to take apart the Genesis.
Oh, fuck.
Big risks.
We were going to do it Trip's way.
And he was relentless.
This is wrong. I thought this was criminal.
And top talent.
They look
Madden, Ron, what's going on, Ron? It says Madden 27 extraction shooter could shake things up. It could.
really badass.
We walked in the room, took the guns out of our pocket, and put them on the table.
Creating one of the most popular sports video game franchises of all time.
Joe Montana football.
It may be my best game of the season.
Nope, that wasn't it.
Back to the drawing boards.
They have no idea.
Madden, that's the one.
Absolutely David defeating Goliath.
And it almost didn't happen.
No, but the problem is, Jesse Mack, I don't think it's because they're all the same, right? Right? Ruined sports games, once they started making all the same things every year, it never changes. That's what sports is. Football is football. You're changing the characters, putting your best. They decided to monetize and nickel and dime you for everything. That's what ruined football. Football was the same, right? This is not like a Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue for sports. Sports is sports. Like, you wanted to play sports because they had the Michael Jordan. You could play Michael Jordan. Now it's LeBron James or whoever else it was. That was Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, you wanted to play these characters. You wanted to be the Peyton Mannings. You wanted to be the top spot. You wanted your team. The fantasy of sports games is that you're in control of your favorite team or your favorite player, and that is the fantasy of it. You get to control your actual players. It's when they started nickel and diming you is when they fucked it up.
John standing over us. He goes, "What the fuck is that?"
Fast forward past this.
A simpler way to travel and see America. In 1984, on one cloudy December night, an Amtrak passenger train traveling from Denver, Colorado to Oakland, California carried a few football fanatics who would have a very important all-night discussion. And the results of that 939-mile journey would change the face of third-party software and video game football forever.
Wait a second. Okay, first of all, you don't call it video game football. You call it Madden.
Madden.
Madden football.
But how did this video
Right, it's for the payers, not the players. That's exactly right. That's what it's turned into, user.
game, endorsed by a quirky NFL announcer, become the flagship football franchise?
There has to be something special about you.
And here's another thing, right? You look at the graphics here. When we were kids and we were playing Madden football and you saw these graphics, like we saw Temple Bowl, then we saw this, right? This was next level type of stuff. And as they kept innovating and making it better and better and better and better, where now you walk past the room, you're like, is that a real game? Right? Like an actual football game? And you're like, it's Madden? We're at the ceiling now of visually what it could happen. So now as gamers, and again, this is just my opinion, okay? It didn't innovate year after year because now the graphics look the exact same for the last 10 years, okay? And then they charged what I talk about all the time. They took out the cone of vision, then they put the hit stick in, then they do this, and they just keep regurgitating the exact same thing. There's no innovation anymore. It's hit that ceiling. And because there's no innovation, because there's no competitors, right? There's zero competitors. So you're at the top of the ceiling now with graphics. Your gameplay is the exact same. You're just changing the roster now. Nothing's changing. And there's no competition. If there was competition, like 2K had back in the day, okay, you would see both of them innovating, trying to do different things. If it's at a halftime show, put more stats, Chris Berman coming in and doing all the replays and showing other games, make it more of like what we see on TV, then you would have better competition, but you don't have that now.
Become the flagship football franchise.
There has to be something special about you.
Well, to find out, we need to hop off that train and meet one of its young football-obsessed passengers.
The first thing you have to do is have a big idea.
And Trip Hawkins did.
Trip Hawkins, you could tell, he was just always really interested in sports.
Trip Hawkins had almost an infinite love of all things competitive, and he liked football especially.
So Tripp and a collection of his friends had played Stratomatic football since they were in junior high school.
Stratomatic was before its time.
It was the beginning of fantasy football.
I think that for Tripp, that the experience that he had playing Stratomatic football gave him insight about...
What year was that? What year was this?
Game design, because you're constantly arguing about the game design when you're playing one.
And so, naturally, Tripp began to tinker.
He came up with his spin of it,
which he called AccuStat Pro Football.
You'd have cards with stats on it. You'd
Look at the stat nerds, man. There's always gonna be the stat nerds. What's going on, PS5? Good to see you.
sort of roll your dice and score based on that. Really does sound like a modern game you'd release now.
Unfortunately, football fans in
They called Madden an announcer. He's one of the greatest coaches ever to coach the game.
1972 found the game had too many numbers to crunch. But when it comes to crunching numbers, a fortuitous contraption was on the horizon. And Tripp knew that it was going to change the world.
Well, of course, Sarge. D&D with sports. This is what I always make. People are like, oh, I don't play, when we were younger, I don't play fucking video games. This is for nerds. I'm like, you know you're a nerd for sports, right? See, I was a hybrid. I was a gamer and a sports guy, right? Played sports, played video games, right? I was this hybrid person that was a nerd for games and also a nerd for sports.
He sees the potential of video games and he sees the potential of personal computers.
His provoking thought was that someday there'll be a computer in every home.
The computer really is a profound new way to play.
Tripp was the first person to articulate his vision for an industry that was way, way bigger than anybody else was perceiving it. A medium that would compete with all other media.
I mean, think about it now, right? We play a lot of these games with stats, RPGs with little stats here. Percentages go up. We love that shit. So it makes us play the game.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, he had this vision that sooner or later, computers will be able to play realistic simulations of sports games.
But Tripp's plan for global gaming domination was too early. So in the meantime, he became employee number 68 at a little computer company run by two Atari rejects.
He was...
Ray says, why is Madden NFL video games so popular? Why is the sport even popular? People just grabbed onto it. It's been around since, for decades and decades. People love football. Madden picked it up, and it wasn't even the only brand that had the NFL license. There were so many NFL licenses back in the day, but Madden was just a better one of those times, but they had competition.
With Steve Jobs, when Steve Jobs visited Xerox PARC and saw a mouse.
A clever bit of technology that Steve decided to borrow for his computers. And in turn, Tripp would borrow something from Steve.
What Tripp learned at Apple mostly was the culture. How a company should run, how employees should be treated, and also the way you want the public to view your company.
And after 4 years, Tripp cashed in his...
Yeah, but Temco Bowl didn't have the real teams. You just, what, 8 teams? You had 8 teams, I think? Was it 10 teams? Right? It was just generic Miami, right? Was it the Dolphins? I thought it was Miami. Oh, it was. It was the real one. And then you had Mark Super Duper, Bo Jackson. Yes, it is. But you didn't have all the teams in the original one.
You see Apple stock options to the tune of $7.5 million, which in part helped him establish his own company, Electronic Arts, in 1982. A company with the sole purpose of publishing video games. However, by now, computer technology had caught up, but so had the competition.
In the spring of '83, there were at least 100 other companies attempting to sell software on disks.
They would need something to set themselves apart from the crowded field. For that, they reached out to advertising guru Jeff Goodby.
We started just free associating with them about what the future of gaming could be. And the idea that we had was real.
Does this guy look familiar? He's the same guy from the last video that did the marketing for fucking Sega.
Really, to start treating the people that created games the way that the music industry treated musicians. To honor them, use their names. And we took beautiful photographs with these characters that were programming the games.
People like Ann Westfall and John Freeman, who created Archon and Murder on the Zindernoof, and John Field, who created Axis Assassins and The Last Gladiator. And of course, Bill Budge, who created pinball.
Who all looked like they were rock stars in a black and white picture that looked like it had been shot by Robert Mapplethorpe.
Actually, they used Norman Seeff, who at the time was taking shots of the biggest names in rock like Kiss, Van Halen, and the Rolling Stones.
They look really badass.
They literally made them look like rock stars.
They were like music artists to us. They were people in the world that were making something important that everybody should care about.
It became aspirational. Like we all when we were kind of working in our parents' houses, we're like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we got signed by EA?
But here's the thing. To get signed by EA, you had to get discovered by a producer, whatever that meant.
In the early days, we did not have producers in the video games industry.
It's a term that essentially Electronic Arts invented.
Another bit of inspiration from the record industry.
We had a set of rules that guided us on how to evaluate deals.
Tripp even had Jerry Moss from A&M Records come in and train his new producers.
And when I first heard about it, I thought, well, that's kind of cool, but it seems different. And after I'd had the experience of that training, I just thought, oh my God, I get it.
You would give a producer money, and his job was to go turn that money into video games that turned into more money.
And this small company, with their free thinking, wildly creative, rockstar programmers, and talent-developing producers, began to score some big hits like Hard Hat Mac, Mule, and Worms.
Look at these state-of-the-art games. Whoa, amazing.
All published on floppy disk for PC platforms such as the Apple II, Atari 8-bit machines, the Commodore 64, and IBM PCs.
By the end of that year, we had moved from 100 to #1.
The industry couldn't help but to take notice.
See, a lot of people just think of EA right now, like if you're a kid, you think Electronic Arts is just football, just sports games. This is where they came from. And remember, these were independent developers making games, and we bought these games and made this company a completely empire of what it is today. And then they turn around and they're like, fuck you, we're going to take more, give us more. It's like the Little Shop of Horrors, more. He just wants to keep eating.
Grabbed a couple of my buddies from Atari and we checked these things out. The first thing that struck us was the packaging. It was really awesome. The packaging of the games looked like record albums. You could open them up, the photography and the artwork was beautiful. You could read the back. They listed the credits on the back. They were called artists. So the whole presentation was really striking. But when we booted up the games, compared to what we were used to in the coin-op world,
I love that. The artwork on the boxes was the best part, and you got the game, you're like, oh, it was your imagination, man.
We're kind of laughing, like, look at this stuff. But Dr. J and Larry Bird,
Dr. J, that's what it was. Larry Bird, Irving and Bird.
For me, because I was a sports guy, really hooked me.
It turned out EA's Simple 101 basketball game did something the other games didn't.
What Dr. J and Larry Bird did was he created a collection of expectations out of the customer, out of the player, that were based on the fact that they were controlling a guy named Larry Bird or a guy named Julius Erving.
You know, we couldn't.
I was the same, Eclipse. Soon as they added it, I was like, ugh. It was just, at the moment they added Ultimate Team, I was like, what's happening?
Recreate at that time all the spectacular dunks and the moves.
Here he comes. We rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
But because of their real life counterparts, your mind would sort of fill in the gaps.
The assumption was that get inside with Dr. J, you're going to dunk the ball, you're going to be unstoppable. But Larry Bird can hit that three-pointer all day.
What a play by Bird!
When you made a great slam, the
backboard would shatter. It took them so long to put that into actual other games.
Shatter, and this old guy would come out with a broom and kind of scold you and then clean it up and you play again.
There was a heart and soul to that game that I just had never seen before.
So good that eventually Donald Traeger himself left Atari.
Yeah.
And joined Electronic Arts. Now, regarding the idea of athletes licensing their names and endorsing products, it was really nothing new. But it was new for video games.
You make a buck, we make a buck. They got that we were not exploiting them, we were in partnership with them.
The success of Dr. J and Larry Bird.
Different business now. It's a different business now.
Horde proved there was a market for sports fans who wanted to play video games.
It was early in terms of a pioneer for setting up what became the sports game business.
But Tripp knew that the big business of sports video games couldn't ignore the...
Right, it's funny, Eclipse, when you look at just that, of the backboard smashing, a little guy coming out and cleaning it up, like, you think about that and go, it's no big deal. Who gives a shit? But it's like the little details like that's what sells. Like, no one's buying the game for that. But when they put that in, they're like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Biggest sport in America. And he'd been developing a game for 2 years that was about to change everything. In 1983, Electronic Arts released its first smash hit sports computer game.
At some point, Tripp had this idea to really bring his passion to life for football.
Hold on one second. Something's trying to take over my computer here.
And with the project already over 2 years in development by a young programmer named Robin Antonick, Tripp Hawkins just needed to add the finishing touch with the perfect celebrity endorsement. And in the 1980s, there was only one guy on Tripp's mind to help bring his game to life: Joe Montana. Unfortunately, Joe was already huddling with Atari in their 3-on-3 Atari football. So, Tripp and EA went to the next best.
I just want to say, without Joe Montana, okay, you don't have a Tom Brady. And this is not a shun towards Tom Brady. Tom Brady's hero was Joe Montana, right? And then he surpassed him with more Super Bowls and stuff like that. But Montana, he was the GOAT.
Best guy.
You know, you can't imagine a bigger name in football than John Madden, especially in that era.
He's a bigger-than-life character.
They have no idea where we are, who we are, where we're coming from, or who we're throwing to.
John Madden was really the cultural spokesman for the NFL.
Despite only having played pro for 1 year, he coached the Oakland Raiders for 10 winning seasons and led them to their first Super Bowl title.
He was an analyst. His playbooks were kind of famous. The love that everybody had for him within the NFL and the players.
He was a guy you could go grab a beer with. He was unpolished. He was unapologetically himself.
John was raised in a fairly simple family, and he was easily astonished by certain things in life. We took a ride down to Palm Springs for a talk he had to give there, and there's these beautiful citrus trees, and they're just so manicured. John says, "Do you think they're real?" So I pulled over and we opened them and we ate them, and we were astonished that this could be so real. And we were just like two kids from the city who didn't know much better.
And that folksy charm landed him a ton of endorsement deals.
Ace Hardware.
Ace is a place.
Florsheim Shoes. Tough Actin' Tenactin.
It's the only one.
Tough Actin' Tenactin.
Proven to prevent athletes from.
Probably the most famous campaign was all the Miller Lite commercials.
Boy, can I go for a nice cold white beer from Miller.
John's character as a character became obvious to the public in the Miller Lite commercials.
Oh, I forgot about that, Crowded, that Nicolas Cage is playing John Madden.
When he was breaking through whatever he was breaking through in each one.
Is that movie out yet? That's not out yet, right?
Times have I told you, use the door, huh? I forgot. I'm sorry.
But it was Madden's ability to break down plays that Tripp was most interested in.
John was able to break the game down so that Joe, anybody, could understand it.
But how does one score a meeting with the face of football?
It's funny that you just said that, Travis. That's exactly when he busted through the wall. And the way he talked, it's that Midwestern type of feel. He does feel like John Candy. If John Candy was still alive, he could play Madden.
According to John Madden's son, Joe, the right play went through the kids.
My dad's involvement with the game originated from my brother calling up my dad.
Actually, he'd be way old to play Madden, but
before Parents' Weekend at Harvard.
Which conveniently was Tripp Hawkins' own alma mater. So Tripp connected with Joe's little brother, Mike, and Mr. Madden committed to a quick discussion.
So that 10-minute conversation after my brother's freshman football game, it went well past 10 minutes.
But Madden was a busy guy, and he had a game to commentate the next day.
So my dad, I guess, is famous for not wanting to fly, not to fly in an airplane.
It's the only way. The wheels never leave the ground.
But Dad's like, I want to know more about this, but look, I have a train to catch. If you want to, this train, it goes overnight, and you're welcome to join me.
So, Trip.
If you ever have an opportunity like that, business-wise, and someone invites you and be like, hey, if you want to come on a trip with me, and you got to front the bill, right? Train ticket, plane ticket, you go. Because that could be life-changing.
Hawkins and game designer Joe Abada took the night train from Denver to Oakland. All stops, destiny.
Out of that, Trip had kind of the whole genesis of what the Madden game, what it was going to look like.
But before he agreed to join the team, Madden had one huge condition.
If I'm going to be part of it, it has to be realistic.
And Trip's like, well, what does that mean? My dad said, well, every game right now, it's like a 7-on-7.
Or worse, just 3-on-3.
My dad's like,
I played that, right? And obviously, even the 7-on-7 stuff was like, come on.
Like, there's no lineman. I'm a lineman. There's no lineman representations.
It has to be NFL, it has to be pro, and there has to be like 11 guys on every team.
That made the game really complicated if you wanted it to be real.
And they passed out. I mean, that was never heard of.
And Tripp realized that the game he had already been developing for 3 years would have to be redesigned to fit Madden's demands. Having been developed for the Apple IIe, the computer's limited power, memory, and disk storage was problematic and outdated.
Almost sounds like Destiny, right? Back then, I totally get it, right? You're like, oh, it's just too big of a game to put on the thing. It's just not enough. Today, you telling me that? Get the fuck out of here. There's so many ways that you could put it on there, and there's plenty of storage.
Compared to popular arcade games like 1983's 10-Yard Fight and 1987's Tecmo Bowl.
Yep.
Honestly, I was just glad I wasn't the one stuck in the middle there.
No. That was Donald's job.
I was assigned to work with John Madden. Internally, it had kind of a bad rep because it had been the downfall of a lot of previous employees. It had been around a long time.
It was not going well.
It was a struggle.
Until finally, after a grueling development process, they had something they could show to the man himself.
One day, 2 or 3 years later, my dad gets a call from his agent saying, Trip Hawkins has something to show you.
And we were moving towards this first meeting with John where the team was going to show him a demo of the game, and we were also going to do marketing photos and cover photos and whatnot. So we had it all set up, we were excited, and John comes up and he's standing over us looking at the computer, and we run this goal line play. And he just looks at us and goes, what the fuck is that?
And so,
what was the sensor for? What was the sensor for? You can't see the words coming out of his mouth? What the fuck was that? What was that?
John Madden had burst through the metaphorical walls of Donald's mind, and Madden football was in danger of collapsing.
Okay.
And to be fair, Madden had given them clear instructions.
If I'm going to be part of it, it has to be realistic.
There's got to be 11 players against 11 players.
And what he saw on the screen was definitely not that.
It was 7-on-7.
So that's when you look at people and go, well, minimal viable product, right? Minimal viable product. He asked for 11 versus 11. They gave him 7 versus 7.
Which we really thought was the max we could get out of the processor at the time and still move at speed. And we were like, okay, back to the drawing boards.
Aside from the glaring 11 versus 11 issue, another hurdle was applying the right balance of stats to the players. So, Madden called a friend.
Creating a football game, players had to be rated. John knew that I already did that. I created something called Grid Grade. I gave players grades and then units grades. And then if you sum it all up, ideally, you should figure out who has the best team. Next thing I know, I'm being called over to Electronic Arts.
Which for Frank was a whole new world.
I was a little blown away by the whole scene there because it was Nerf balls going everywhere, they're drawing on the walls. It was invigorating.
And so they got to work.
Trying to come to something that works mathematically.
The result was a system for how players would interact during gameplay. But 4 years after that...
I would have to look it up, Water. Maybe you guys can do it while we're watching this. What year did Madden die, and what year did they start pushing microtransactions? Is there any correlation, right? Because I know he's out of football for quite a bit before he passed, right? But when was it like the line? Was it around 2000? Like, how long has the microtransactions Ultimate Team has been in the game? Was it since 2011, 2012? Is it earlier than that?
Fateful train ride, they were still in development. And so another producer was brought in to get the project into the end zone.
So my job every day was to come in with a list that was a missing from alpha or a missing from final list, and to get stuff crossed off that list. And if Trip Hawkins came in and he wanted a bug fixed or he wanted a feature changed and it wasn't on that list, I tried to be a gatekeeper to keep that from happening.
It was a painful experience trying to finish that product.
And thanks to folks who did lots of hard testing, we managed to ship that product and get it in the marketplace very late in 1988.
Finally, Trip's long-awaited masterpiece, the first real football simulator, was available for football fans everywhere. EA even listed John Madden's rigorous demands on the back cover. And while the 11-on-11 issue was solved, it was not without big sacrifices to gameplay. Because with 22 players on the screen, all with their own set of unique parameters, the game just ran slow.
John Madden on the Apple II in the early stages were really rudimentary.
Frames per second.
You'd look at it now and you would kind of laugh at it.
It was hard.
I love how the football is a division symbol.
To assess the
Man,
real
have we come a long way.
potential for Madden at that time because it was limited to Apple II and then eventually Tandy and PC.
When did he retire from football? Like as an announcer?
You know, for me, it was like I was into games with color and I played Karateka. You know, so for me at the time, there were all these great games. You know, Madden was too early in what it was to be interesting.
Despite the molasses gameplay and chunky graphics, Madden Football on PC did deliver the kind of experience both Trip and Madden had long envisioned. Even if, just like Trip's AccuStat, it wasn't a hit. But as the 80s came to a close, technological breakthrough...
April 16th, 2009. Just saying.
were coming that would once again change everything.
I don't know what his contract was, but obviously they gave him his name, right? And he still collected money or whatnot, but...
Now you're playing with power.
Having spent years making video games for PCs,
it became real apparent pretty quickly that consoles were definitely back. It was in the culture, the numbers were just outstanding.
But making games for consoles came with one big drawback.
When you got into the actual business aspect of it, to make cartridges or to put out content on Nintendo, you had to have a license from Nintendo. You had to go through an approval process. You had to work with Nintendo to basically buy cartridges and manufacture them.
Trip's big resistance to console had been having to pay royalty to a platform developer and also being tied into their releases, their manufacturing capability. He just thought it was too onerous of an agreement.
The other part of it is that the economics of cartridges stunk. We could duplicate discs for 50 cents at the time, packaged were a couple bucks. A cartridge was 10 bucks. Before you'd done anything with it.
But whatever they did, EA couldn't afford to ignore where the industry was headed.
I had become...
But wouldn't they still need it? Yes and no. Yes and no. I'm not saying 100% of a doubt there could have been a contract, right? We don't know his contract. Now, there's a contract where they can still use your name, sort of like Tom Clancy, right? Tom Clancy's novels and stuff. He gets paid up to a certain, to use his name. But there's a certain point that they use his name after the point, even though he's not even part of it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying, again, I don't know the exact contract that Madden had, but maybe it was, a 10-year deal, 15-year deal while he was in the NFL, right? And then when he retired, it was still the Madden name, yet they're still using the NFL license type of stuff, and they could have reworked the whole deal.
A producer developing my own products. And our first release was our first game that we actually hired internal staff for.
There it is.
It's called
Which we had. I played the shit out of this at the arcade. I love this game at the arcade.
Designed and built as a Commodore 64 game.
And on computer, Skater Die became a big hit. A big hit on computer was like, I don't know, 100,000 units. But because we didn't do console, we licensed that to Konami, who then put it out on the NES, and it sold like 500,000 copies. It happened again when I did Jordan versus Bird, which again was a big hit, a license by Milton Bradley.
Put the shit out of that game as well.
For the NES, and that did, I don't know, like 1.5 million units or something like that.
As a result, we got to see what sales looked like. We got to see how our products got received by that market.
So Electronic Arts had a dilemma: how to tap that lucrative console market without giving in too much to Nintendo.
Part of my job as a producer was...
Even back then, EA was slimy as fuck.
To bring products from other markets to the US. At the next Tokyo Game Show that I went to, Sega showed on the floor that they were going to build a 68,000 base machine.
Motorola's 68,000 processor and 16-bit graphics made consoles suddenly more powerful than arcade machines.
And I took note of it because we were doing games for the Amiga. Amiga was a 68,000 machine with very similar specs to what they were describing.
And perhaps this faster processor could give Madden the juice it needed.
We had all the statistical simulation experience. We had the good graphical and higher end development experience from the Amiga, which a lot of guys didn't get into.
But I said, if they choose to bring that to this market, we got a lot of software that can go to that machine fast.
The Sega Genesis hit stores in August 1989.
Genesis, a system with twice the power, twice the intelligence, twice the challenge.
When Sega Genesis entered, the branding platform was around 16-bit gaming, and that was sort of the next generation.
So at that point in time, the decision was made to pursue a different strategy on the Genesis.
A direct competitor to Nintendo, the Genesis presented a unique business opportunity for Trip Hawkins and Electronic Arts. One too good to pass up.
Trip finally agreed, okay, we're gonna do console, but we were gonna do it in Trip's way.
But Sega's way was a lot like Nintendo's way.
You're gonna make games for the Sega Genesis, you gotta buy the cartridges from Sega. Electronic Arts says, I'm not gonna do that.
So, perhaps just like Steve Jobs had borrowed and reverse engineered Xerox's mouse for the Apple IIe, Trip decided to buy a Sega from Japan, and EA would get their hands dirty trying to reverse engineer Sega's 16.
The business old model: buy a copy, re-engineer it to work for you, so you don't have to pay them the thing. Now think about this for a second, right? Think about this for a second. EA doesn't want to pay Sega's prices for the cartridges, so they're going to work around how to make their own cartridges. Okay? They're the customer of Sega, and they're like, we don't want to pay your prices. Think about what we're doing right now as customers, right? We're like, look at these businesses and go, we don't want to pay your prices. But they're demanding it. We're like, no, we'll find other ways. Even businesses against other businesses find different ways to work for them. Yet when customers try it, we're pirates.
Bit machine.
I ran a clean room to take apart the Sega Genesis so we could publish cartridges without having to pay Sega what I would call a manufacturing tax.
So the clean room was a mechanism that allowed companies to reverse engineer existing hardware.
In a protected environment that was essentially a lockdown, where we as the game developers weren't allowed any information or any access to that lockdown environment, but we were then handed clean information that we could then use to build games.
Apparently for Trip Hawkins, it was better to ask for forgiveness than...
Right, because the people in the room know what the reverse engineering is, but the people outside the room do not. So as long as they don't know, then it's not bad because they're just making the game.
And permission.
His vision was to do these on our own, release them separately, and have our own development deal separate from what Sega was offering to the other developers.
You dirty, dirty EA. Look at you.
I knew that we were picking a fight with Sega.
And when Sega Corporation of America found out...
The problem was that Electronic Arts were planning to introduce cartridges that they produced that they didn't pay any royalty back to Sega.
Trip wasn't going to get bullied into paying their fees.
Trip showed up with our unlicensed.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is, Crowded. Even in movie theaters right now, right? If you want to show that movie in the theater, you gotta pay the people that made the movie to get that for each copy. So if they had, and this is how the way movie theaters work, right? So most of the new movies are right next to each other, and usually there's a pass through. So let's say a movie starts at 5 o'clock and then like 5:30. Okay, what happens is they'll make this is back when film was working, right? They would use the film in one theater, and then the next showing was like 20 minutes after, 10 minutes after, because then they would send it over to the other room, and they would use the same thing, so they didn't have to buy 2 copies and stuff like that, right? So you have to buy, right? So this is buy the cartridge. That is, they have to buy the film to put it in the thing. There's always a tax like that, always.
Product, and said, we begin shipping these in the next couple months, with or without you.
I thought this was criminal.
After finding out Electronic Arts...
I don't know if it was the first Tarnish, because like California Games and stuff like that was on the Apple, and it was also on consoles at the same time.
Arts had reverse engineered their brand new Sega Genesis console. Sega of America were on the warpath.
So we went to EA's headquarters in a conference room there, and I met Trip. He said, well, this is what we're going to do, and we're not going to pay you a royalty. And I thought the idea was criminal. And I said to him, Trip, didn't your mother ever teach you the difference between right and wrong? This is wrong. You can't do this.
Trip did not...
And he said, I don't give a shit. We're doing it.
Not take this accusation lightly.
He was offended. Yeah, he did not like me at all.
And he said, that's not fair. We're creating the stuff that's making their hardware worth buying.
And Trip knew that Sega didn't have much leverage, as they were only going to release 8 titles at launch. And contrary to popular belief, the Blue Hedgehog was not one of them.
Not yet.
You know, there really wasn't a lot going on the Genesis.
This is at a time where Sega doesn't have Konami and Acclaim and Capcom because they're locked behind Nintendo's licensing policies. So Sega really didn't have a winning hand at that meeting.
This is what Walmart does to a lot of creators that make models and stuff, like a broom, a dustpan, or whatever, a garbage can. They get them exclusively into Walmart, big contract, but then they undercut them by doing something else in their own thing to compete against them.
But I do have to say that Trip Hawkins didn't even have to approach Sega at all. He was going to do what he was going to do.
Trip was playing hardball.
We were going to sue him. It was going to be an expensive lawsuit for both Sega and for Electronic Arts.
But that never quite came to be, as Sega, fearing that Trip would share his information with other third-party developers, waved the white flag.
because he altered and reverse engineered the Sega Genesis. Okay, they're like, he knows stuff. He still knows stuff. So just because you're not suing him doesn't mean he's not going to sell that information to other people as well.
Or, as Tom Kalinske put it,
we made a deal, as good businessmen should.
So Trip's gamble paid off, literally.
Sega gives him concessions that they did not make to other companies. First of all, they have a reduced royalty on the amount they have to pay for the cartridges.
At the rate of $2 per cartridge. And secondly, they were allowed to manufacture their own cartridges.
And that's the reason why, if you look at Electronic Arts cartridges for Genesis, they're vertical instead of horizontal.
Oh. I never knew that. Even when I was a kid, I was like, why does this have a yellow tag on it?
And they have that little yellow tab on. And it's because Electronic Arts made its own cartridges.
Yeah, it was just pretty much just marketing. It was to be special, to kind of stand out and be different.
And they'd be allowed to make as many games.
That's what I thought it was. I just thought it was, yellow tab, meaning it's EA type of stuff. I didn't know that's because they made their own cartridges.
As they wanted.
As opposed to our normal contract was for a third party, was for 4 games a year.
And also Electronic Arts has control over the types of...
See, I love shit like this, right? I love knowing like little tidbits and stuff like this, because You're like, my whole childhood, I was like, why does this have a yellow tab on it? Why are these cartridges different? It never made sense to me. Here I am, 48 years old. And I was this old when I found out, because it's not because they wanted to look different. It's because they didn't want to pay the royalty and made their own fucking cartridges. The more you know.
Games it wants to release.
Lastly, Trip negotiated a cap on royalties after 2 million units sold.
And it gives EA sort of a
Wow. That's because he has information. He's like, look, you stop here after that.
massive advantage, cost structure advantage over other Sega licensees.
Right, Tarnish? They were bootlegging them.
But when EA evaluated Sega's slate of upcoming games, they quickly realized
there is no real competition in the football space.
Even if you wanted to play football on a Nintendo,
the closest you got really was Tecmo Bowl. But it wasn't as much of a simulation as it was an arcade game.
Right.
All the guys in the middle are just running into each other and they're just going.
It's not realistic in any way. You can kind of cheat the system really easily.
For example,
but goddamn was it fun. And at the end of the day, video games just need to be fun.
If you wanted to beat Minnesota, your best choice was Bo Jackson and the Raiders.
That's right.
But if you wanted to beat Miami,
Super Duper,
well, it would be Bo Jackson again.
Whoever had Bo Jackson, whoever had the Raiders,
Bo Jackson and Mark Super Duper
was gonna win.
You know, you could beat the other team on any given day, 75-0 or something like that, which never really happens in football.
You can't stop Bo Jackson.
It turns out EA knew one way to stop Bo Jackson.
To create a football game that's a more accurate, more realistic simulation of the sport itself.
But this game wouldn't be Madden football.
We had made the decision that the John Madden brand was our sacrosanct brand and that we were going to save it for the best of our games.
And at the time, the original team was busy porting the game to other PC formats. So for this new product,
the time was
what happened?
Just called Sega Football.
Sorry.
Then it was my job to go find a developer to build that game.
So Richard started by finding somebody else who'd already developed a football game.
The previous year, there had been an IBM PC game that had licensed the Monday Night Football brand.
And while it only did modest,
just licensed the Monday Night Football brand. Not the NFL brand, just the Monday Night brand.
Sales. It had a concept that Richard really liked.
I'm going to play a sports video game that looks like I'm playing the TV version of that game.
Let's go down to the field for the starting action.
It also was how people thought about football. Most people have never been to a pro football game. They've seen a TV game, which means their notion of what's correct about pro football is what's on TV, not what's in person. And so as a result, building a football game that would be TV-based is the obvious idea.
But the developers of ABC Monday Night Football weren't just going to let EA take their game. So instead, Richard took their developers.
Some of the people at the developer for...
My God, dude. So let me get this straight. EA not only stole the mouse from Steve Jobs, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Steve Jobs stole the mouse from Xerox, okay? But then he steals the Genesis, basically, re-engineers it so he can make his own cartridges, and now he steals the developers of the other game. Bro. EA has never changed. EA's been the exact same the entire lifeline of them.
The Monday Night Football game founded a company called Park Place.
And Richard hired Park Place to create an A-grade game. But what he didn't know was that he was getting the B team. So Richard had hired developer Park Place to build Sega Football for the Genesis console.
I had hired Park Place because they had done Monday Night Football. We would ask them to produce a script, which was basically, tell me what you're going to make, and then a development plan, which was, tell me how you're going to make it.
Park Place Productions, it was a very small company. I'd say 7 or 8 people were there. Troy Linden, the president of Park Place, called me and had an interesting offer. He wanted me to start a new football game.
In that game,
Sega Genesis Football, there was no name, there's no title to it. There was a brief design I was given from Electronic Arts for what the football game should become.
What's on TV, not what's in person, is the obvious idea.
I think that was the biggest concern going in, is how could I deliver this level of a new game that hasn't really been done before.
And just to clarify, Jim was the only guy.
Was it 93, 94 is when Madden blew up, right?
I at Park Place hired to work on the game.
For the prototype, I got to make all the decisions. Nobody was looking over my shoulder. During the first 2 months of development on this, I was supposed to be getting a...
You're saying, yo, boys, how you going to make me money? I thought you were saying, yo, boys, like...
technical design document ready, but I didn't do that. I kind of put that aside and just started working on the game. I wanted to do 3D fields. I also wanted the players to have a physics engine that drove them, so that their movement on the field would look realistic. Right off the bat, those were my two goals.
Loved it back then.
I really wanted to prove those two things.
So after 2 months, EA came calling to check on what they thought was the paper-only version of the development process.
So my technical director at the time, a guy named Scott Krantz, and I, when we had that meeting, we discovered that the engineers that were on our project were not the engineers that we thought were on our project.
Rich thought that in Park Place Productions, he'd hired the same team who built ABC Monday Night Football. But in truth,
none of those people were working on my product.
I think Electronic Arts thought that Troy Linden, the president of Park Place, was doing this game.
We walked in the room and metaphorically took the guns out of our pocket and put them on the table. Meaning, we're here to kill this thing.
They were expecting to talk about it.
So the first thing he'd said is, well, I'm going to do this 3D field. I'm going to be able to make it so that depending on what side of the field's perspective will change to give you the sense that your perspective has changed within the game. And we're like, ha 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 ha, how are you going to do that?
They actually got to see a prototype.
So he said, how about like this? And he turns the machine on and it's running.
Everything had to be lined up just right so it looked correctly. All the players had to be sized smaller as they went farther away and larger. And that was part of the physics model of how the game worked.
And so I look at Scott, it's like, okay, didn't think that was going to happen. So then we get the next thing out on our list. That one is, how are you going to get 22 players running around the field? He goes, how about like this?
The Sega Genesis had a lot of capabilities.
So classic back then.
The way that their graphics could support horizontal scanning of lines separately. I could repurpose the sprites.
This guy right here. This guy right here is who made Madden. Not Madden. This guy made Madden.
From the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen.
It's good. At which point I'm now looking at Scott and going like, I think I'm going to put my gun away.
I knew even before they got there this was good. This hardware on the Sega Genesis is awesome, and it can do things that nobody's seen before.
Jim was, from the very beginning, somebody who showed a real talent for what we were doing. We had a very fun to play game. In, I think, about 3 months, probably less.
And Jim's arrival on the scene couldn't have come at a better time, because there were some dark clouds growing on the horizon.
About that same time, we started to hear about Sega's plans for that fall. They were planning to do this game called Joe Montana Football.
Sega's ego was still a little bruised from Tripp's reverse engineering stunt.
I knew that we were picking a fight with Sega. They were going to spend $10 million to advertise that game.
Their old nemesis from Atari's 3-on-3 football was
so bad back then.
Back.
Welcome to Joe Montana Football.
At the time, Montana was fresh off his 4th Super Bowl win.
Great game.
But hey, EA had Sega Genesis Football.
Stand by with the bleep button. Oh, fuck. So we had them.
Again, why are we censoring it from the mouth instead of the actual word?
Marketing discussion about our product. The John Madden brand was our sacrosanct brand. Can basically said, Trip, we got to call it John Madden Football. We got to. We can't go out there as Sega Football against Joe Montana. That will not work. And so John Madden was a relatively late choice in the product's development, driven by the fact that we had Joe to answer for.
That's crazy. See, the only reason Madden became Madden because they were desperate to put someone on the Sega Genesis Football.
It would be a close race because the company developed...
there's no one better than Montana at that time. He is football at that moment.
Joe Montana was mediagenic. and it was a scramble to the finish line for them as well.
And since I don't like being rushed, we're taking extra time to perfect my game.
Sega, they'd signed an expensive deal with Joe Montana, and whoever was building it for him was floundering.
Mediagenic has been leading Sega on over the course of months about the state of the game. And when Sega finally in September is like, hey, I need this game by November, what have you got? They learned that the game is far from completion and won't be done in time.
We needed Joe Montana Football done in time for Christmas of that year.
It became extremely clear to us that they were not going to make it.
That's crazy.
In the fall of 1990, Sega was developing its own football game for their Genesis console.
It may be my best game of the season.
And so EA had to pivot.
All the Madden stuff came into the product really late.
More than just a simple name change, Jim now had a whole heap more work to do.
Number one, he's going on the splash screen. The other thing we did was we adopted John's playbooks.
I would code them up and get them to play well. It was complicated. Every team had different player ratings. They had different formations, different personnel you could bring in.
Come on, Jason.
Probably the one clear design invention that I'm responsible for in that product was we had something called passing windows. And it made it possible.
Bro, the passing windows. Remember those?
Possible for you to decide I'm going to throw it to A, B, or C. There were 3 little windows.
I personally was not very excited about it, but Electronic Arts felt very strongly about it. But in the end, I think they made the right choice.
Jim and the team were pushing hard to beat Joe Montana to market. And then the phone rang.
Okay, we got to do Joe Montana for those guys.
Sega had fired Mediagenic.
So Sega turns to Electronic Arts and says, well, you made a football game. Can you help me out?
And I'm literally, no.
Wow.
Because, I have spent the last year doing the impossible. I have been absolutely David defeating Goliath. The last thing in the world I'm going to do then is help him up.
But like it or not, by now, EA and Sega had become strange bedfellows.
Electronic Arts was transitioning to becoming a console developer. Not creating this Joe Montana game would have put them in a very bad position. And Sega would have said, do I want to continue to partner with a company that's not going to have my back when I need them? Especially when you consider that I gave them everything they asked for when they became a license only a few months ago?
But time was not on their side.
We needed Joe Montana Football done in time for Christmas.
Trip Hawkins says, take the Madden engine and strip out all the simulation parts.
I did an edited version of Madden is the way I would describe it. We took the scaling screen out, got to be a 2D only screen. We cut the playbooks way down. I think there were 16 plays on each side. That's it.
Wait a minute. They made the Joe Montana game?
But for the most part, we managed it to be a 6-week job.
And while they didn't quite make it by...
What? They bailed Sega out and made a, minimal viable product, but in 6 weeks.
Christmas.
And that product shipped in January of 1991.
By then, it was too little too late. Because the game that did make it in time for Christmas...
Get in there, get my guys in there.
John Madden, American Football.
With 17 different teams and more than 100 plays.
And it dominated sales that Christmas and into 1990, moving 400,000 retail units.
Wow.
It was the first game that we ran out of cartridges for. At retail, you could not find one.
I think I first became aware of the fact that this game was a hit when I saw it on the cover of a video game magazine saying it was Game of the Year.
And as for Joe Montana Football...
Like, guys from the 49ers weren't playing Joe Montana football. They were playing John Madden football.
On the Sega Genesis, it was designed perfectly for that machine.
Meanwhile, a follow-up to the original Madden was eventually released for PCs. But with its outdated graphics, it floundered upon release, further cementing that Sega was Electronic Arts' future.
There really wasn't a lot going on the Genesis, and it became a Madden machine. It was a huge success.
Electronic Arts made the Sega Genesis the go-to console for sports.
EA would eventually begin releasing Madden yearly.
Need I say more? Okay, I will. Football. He studies it, analyzes it, puts it in his game.
With each iteration, the stats getting deeper and more refined.
The player's grading process got more and more complex. When we first started, the most grades for any player was 12 grades. Now, I think it's closer to 300.
Professional.
Wow. 12 different grades. Now, geez, what did he say, 300?
Player was 12 grades. Now, I think it's closer to 300.
Professional football players were playing this game.
Since 2001, I've been playing this damn game.
And not only were they playing it, but it was a big deal to them. And it was a big deal that...
That's why Madden keeps selling well. Their own football players are playing it.
They were in the game, and it was a big deal they were good in the game.
If you disrespect me this year, we're going to have some real issues.
The culmination of Trip Hawkins' 20-year obsession with creating the perfect football game was realized with the release of John Madden Football. And it's gone on to become an empire.
It's just this amazing sort of journey across a lot of work, a lot of people's effort to make this game great
Yeah, but they stopped working on it about a decade ago. Now it's just on cruise control.
year after year.
And none of it would have been possible without the man on the splash screen.
I had no idea that having a Madden audit would make any difference at all. I thought people would just buy the game because it's a great football game.
John Madden became the coach for generations of football gamers and stayed on the cover of...
That's actually a real thing right there, what they're about to say. He was on the cover. It's one they took him off the cover.
Every release until 2000.
Yeah.
Then returned in 2023.
When they took him off the cover, that's when Madden was like, we don't have to listen to Madden anymore.
To commemorate his sad passing.
The one thing that John would want everybody to focus on was coach. That's how I'll always I'm losing it.
Football was John Madden. All the successes he had the day he was inducted into the Hall of Fame was easily the best day of his life. He wanted to be remembered as a coach. But that's why I think he loved the fact that he had a video game.
We've gone from what they do on television to in the last couple of years, television starting to copy things that we do in the game. So there's been a complete circle there.
And we ended up helping define what a television sports experience is, much to our surprise.
Trip Hawkins and John Madden, two very different men united by one thing, their love of football.
Boom, the ball's there. Boom,
and while Trip and Madden's call to destiny began on a train, for the next leg of our journey, we'll need to answer the call of duty.
And try. Oh, we're going to have to watch that too, chat. That's good. That's good. Link in the description down below. How Madden NFL became a gaming empire. It's from Game Changers, but the channel we watched it on is Diamond Plus Documentary. I don't think Game Changers actually has a channel anymore, or has a channel. I don't even know. So there you go. That's how Madden became. All right, the next thing we're watching here, it's another long one. What happened to that golf game once Tiger Woods was gone? I mean, that's a little different because the golf games were always, they just kept moving people differently on there. Like Madden's just been the exact same the entire time. All right, we're gonna watch the Power On, the story of Xbox. Last week we watched Chapter 1. Okay, now we're watching Chapter 2 of Xbox here. If you guys like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go watch this yourself without me stopping and pausing and giving you my thoughts and opinions and having a conversation, then go to their channel yourself and you can watch it. No skin off my back, right? We're just here to entertain you for a bit. So here we go. What's going on, Titan? Yeah, Duty. Call of Duty. Duty. It's a long one. Here we go.
Idea that Microsoft could ever compete with Sony or Nintendo.
Microsoft is going to make a game console.
It was seen as a bit of a joke.
Might as well call it Nerdbox, right?
We needed to prove our credibility. This thing is going to be the most badass thing you can imagine.
Dude, we need a metal X, and it's got to have a green eye, shooting a laser out. I want it to blind people.
The game developers are not going to be tolerant of any level of bull at all.
I opened up the first machine, I'm like, what the? Oh my God, what happened in there?
Seamus is backstage soldering as the auditorium is filling up.
And then it's in front of the boss. The boss is coming on.
The Microsoft brand is on the line. The Microsoft name's on the line.
Bill's not going to be happy.
And it was terrifying.
He's screaming at us. You guys have lied to me. You guys have played me for a fool.
And he says, this is a insult to everything I've accomplished at this company.
It was terrifying. I thought my career was over.
There's a new contender in the video game wars.
Xbox is going to be the future. Truly the future of video games.
Xbox. See, that's where Xbox went wrong right there. They've been cursed by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in flop after flop after flop.
Taking over the living room.
Limitless, connected digital entertainment.
You guys never understood.
The company is going to face fierce competition.
Sniper!
It's a ticking time bomb.
Makes me very nervous to actually play this for you.
Xbox getting a major overhaul.
A bold vision for the future of gaming.
Meet the Microsoft mouse line. There's a mouse for everyone.
Am I sure it's not the shitty games? Oh, I mean, it could. I'm just saying, Dwayne's career in movies, he's got a lot more flops than he does successes. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Whether you're an expert or first-time buyer, let's start with the basics. I joined the hardware group back in 1987. I ran it for 13 years, hired 300 people into the group, and by 1999, we were doing $600 million worth of business a year.
Rick was working for me running our hardware business. Think mice, keyboards, we had some speakers, we had this thing called Interactive Barney.
That's super duper.
Fucking Barney.
At some point, Steve Ballmer shows up and says, Rick's gonna go do this business exploration. I want you to help sort of supervise and support him.
Steve Ballmer tells me Xbox is my new job and is very convincing about it. Having been in hardware all of my career,
Can I just say, I'm not one to make fun of anyone's look or anything, right? But this is a specific look that Steve Ballmer was going for here, right? Like, this is I'm fucking rich and I don't give a shit what you think. Look, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could have. I mean, I got a little hair up here still. You know what I mean? But he's going for something.
Is my new job and is very convincing about it. Having been in hardware all of my career at Microsoft, I need to understand how this is going to be a good business for us. Do you ever want to make hardware?
If you want to be a great software company, you have to be only a software company.
Now, I just want you to listen to that again. Okay? Microsoft, and this is why I've said that the entire time that I've always talked about Game Pass in the past, years and years ago, we're talking 2018, 2019 when they announced it and what they were doing. I said that's the plan, right? That is the plan to go with Game Pass or cloud because they don't want to make hardware. Hardware is not good for Microsoft. Never has been, never will be, right? Now, they're making hardware because people want to buy the hardware. But listen to the words again.
Career at Microsoft, I need to understand how this is going to be a good business for us. Do you ever want to make hardware?
If you want to be a great software company, you have to be only a software company. You can't dabble in other things.
The idea of building a game console from scratch, the risk.
I like the toaster look there. That's nice.
Here was enormous.
We really understand what it is to be gamers, but we're panicking like we have to figure out how to build the hardware.
Okay, we had no idea what we were doing. None. Like, couldn't have been less qualified to build a console.
Everything about making a console.
That's why you can't look at him. You can't look at him anymore, Dupless. Not that he's bought up every single piece of privately owned land of farms, and that he's trying to make us eat bugs. It was him cheating on his wife that changed it for you. Okay.
Is hard, including taking an upfront loss on the hardware. Sony, Sega, Nintendo, they design their own hardware. They manufacture it themselves, and they sell it at a loss and make a profit on games. That's how the business model works.
I'm sorry. I gotta hear him repeat that business model again.
Taking an upfront loss on the hardware. Sony, Sega, Nintendo, they design their own hardware. They manufacture it themselves, and they sell it at a loss.
Imagine what's happening right now. What's happening right now?
and make a profit on games. And that's how the business model works. So for Microsoft, that is an insane business to get into.
Our P&L said we were going to lose $2 billion for the privilege of maybe later on, somewhere way down the road, we'll make money. And once you started it, with all the commitments that you make trying to...
How many billions have they lost now?
Convince the game developers to make Xbox games. You can't really stop it.
What have you done? What madness has claimed you?
We made it the point to Steve Ballmer to say, if you guys start this thing, don't come back 6 months from now and say it hurts too much.
Any new console hoping to have even a chance of success needed to win over a group of notoriously tough critics.
And still are. Still are.
Game developers. And getting past those gatekeepers would require Microsoft to make a flawless debut at the world's largest game developer conference, GDC.
Games sell consoles, and so in order to sell consoles, we had to win the hearts and minds of the developers.
Which you still do. Which you still do. But every time you have a developer that you like, you fire them.
The only place I think we could have ever announced Xbox was GDC.
The next GDC would take place in March of 2000, so the Xbox team had only 11 months to design and deliver a functioning prototype.
Time is running out for Microsoft to get on the board. If they didn't announce by GDC 2000, they were going to be ceding too much of the playing field to Sony. They had to do it.
And there was still one massive problem to solve. Who was going to build the console hardware? The plan had never been for Microsoft to do it alone.
The only way that we could actually get Xbox made properly was to go to the people that were really good at building hardware.
I don't even think we're there yet, Dupless. I think this chapter is just about how they got the box working. I think chapter 3, again, I haven't watched any of these, would probably be about when it launches.
Rick was trying like hell to find somebody to partner with us, people had expertise that he knew we didn't have.
Companies like Dell and Compaq and NEC and Toshiba. We start these meetings, and most of the guys would look at me and go, who are you? And should I believe you or not? And I'm like, no, really, we're going to do this.
And the OEMs all, laughed in his face. Like, we understand enough about the console business to know that all the money is made on the software. And you're coming to us and asking us just to make the hardware while you make the software. We're not that dumb.
Rick's point of view was, we have no chance of doing this ourselves. And so then the question became, how do we partner with it?
I like how nobody wants to make hardware. Nobody wants to make hardware. Yet people, when I said that Xbox would be stupid to make a handheld device because it just doesn't make sense, and they should team up with someone that's already making the stuff, everyone's like, that's stupid. They should make their own. Okay.
Nintendo, or maybe we should partner with Sega.
Sega seemed like a natural choice because of Microsoft's previous collab.
I mean, what a world that would have been, huh? What a world that would have been if the Xbox was the Sega.
Collaboration on the Dreamcast. But there was pushback against the partnership. Dreamcast had never been competitive with Sony, and Xbox needed to be unlike anything Microsoft had tried before. That left one last great hope.
With Nintendo's 64-bit technology, now Mario lives in a 3D world, and you can make him go wherever you want.
As we began to understand the business model, we really appreciated Nintendo. People don't buy consoles, they buy games.
Wait. Oh, we've said this for years. Just make the games, put it on, right? I don't understand. Their own company said this 2 decades ago.
They want to play Mario, they want to play Pokemon, they want to play Zelda.
Accepting the award for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time will be Shigeru Miyamoto.
And you look at Nintendo and you find the Spielberg of the video game industry and Miyamoto, and you go, wow, this guy's unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
I knew I could convince Microsoft to outright buy Nintendo. I mean, it would
outright buying Nintendo.
Be an amazing accomplishment because it's the national treasure of Japan.
So if you buy Nintendo, you get credibility in the Japanese market. You maybe even get...
Do you see how all these things happen behind the scenes? Like when you say something like this in chat and you're like, Xbox to buy Nintendo, everyone's like, ha ha ha, yeah, sure. they were close of pulling the trigger. And I still think they were, because Phil Spencer said something that he would like to own Nintendo. So I think this has been in the company for 20-something years that they wanted to buy Nintendo.
Miyamoto.
Was there a way to make that happen? Because that would give us instant credibility.
If Microsoft were to acquire Nintendo, they would have gotten two things. One was the hardware, and
And I know someone's going to bring up, well, you can't buy Japanese companies. Completely different rules back then.
second is a massive games portfolio.
From Rick's point of view, if you could acquire Nintendo, you would immediately have access to the best game library in the world, full stop. So I made an introduction to the people that ran Nintendo of America, told them what we were interested in, and then we made a trip to Kyoto.
And who do you think you are barging into my office?
But I could tell from the first meeting that there wasn't a chance this was going to happen. They were highly skeptical.
Guards! They were like not even remotely interested in selling the business. I never got past square one.
You just didn't get to their number. Everybody has a number. Everybody has a number.
On trying.
Bobby Kotick's was $69 billion.
To acquire them.
That to me is the pivotal point for Xbox. Oh my gosh, we're actually gonna do this ourselves. And that scared the crap out of us. Because once it became a do-it-ourselves project, now the Microsoft brand is on the line, the Microsoft name's on the line, it's gonna be big and public. We're gonna have to do a lot of things new, we're gonna do hardware at scale. We are no longer in the Microsoft playbook.
An unprecedented challenge called for some change-ups and new additions to the team. Ted, Nat, and Otto left for other pursuits, while Thompson brought on someone new. Someone known within Microsoft for delivering complex projects against impossible deadlines.
I think it's really cool they videotaped all this stuff and have like these archives, you know?
One day, there's a guy comes into my office and he sits down and I'm like, who are you? And he says, I'm Jay Allard. I said, who's Jay Allard? And he looks at me like, everybody knows who I am, right?
We're really on the cusp of this digital entertainment revolution. So while for 25 years now, Microsoft prided itself on making the world more productive, now our challenge is to blend that with making the world less productive. You know?
He was seen as a futurist that had a lot of credibility internally at Microsoft.
There was, you know, the famous internet memo.
He sent Bill Gates this memo that basically said, hey, Bill, we got to wake up because this thing called the internet is coming, and it is going to transform commerce, it's going to transform society, and it's going to be powered by broadband connections. And so we made a huge, bold bet by putting a broadband connection in the back of the Xbox. Everybody thought we were nuts.
You have to remember, back in 1999, less than 5...
That's right. And you know what people will tell you? Think about this for a second, chat. When we talk about cloud, we're like, well, the infrastructure is just not there. And everyone's on dial-up in 1999 and very little people on broadband. If we said the exact same thing back then, people were like, well, it's just not there yet. It's just not ready. Yet they pushed forward with it. Look at it. It's less than 5% of the entire population that's using internet in 1999.
5% of the U.S. households even had broadband.
But I remember Jay saying, we're going to bet on the future, not against it. He had a vision for where online gaming could go.
You guys always kind of like push back at me and go, well, it's just not there. The infrastructure's not there. The infrastructure's not there for cloud. They don't need a big percentage. They just know where the future's going. That's it. They're going to make it happen.
And what Xbox could become. And Bill paid attention to Jay.
But it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
With the right team together, Xbox needed the right operating system, and that was a little tricky. And...
Tarnish, that's the way I am, right? People think that because I'm saying it, it's because I want it to happen. No, I can see it happening, right? It's back in the day when there was horse and carriage and someone's like, hey, Ford made the vehicle. They're like, yeah, it's never going to take off. They're like, nah, it is. That's what's happening. You're not going to need horses anymore. But people couldn't visualize that back then, you know?
Political.
It's just amazing how popular PCs are.
Windows had been the catalyst for Microsoft's meteoric rise.
Games, word processors, calculators, calendars, all running faster than ever.
Bill Gates had been won over to the team's pitch on the understanding that Windows would power Xbox. But the team knew that Xbox needed to be leaner than a PC. Windows was an all...
Which is the whole point, right? Get rid of all the bloat and just play the games. Make a console for games. Yet now, all the consoles are trying to be PCs, which makes them obsolete because you could just go buy a PC.
Purpose tank. Xbox needed a street racer.
One of the things that makes Windows great is that you can do lots of things at once. You can be running Word next to Excel, next to IM, next to Photoshop.
And so the idea was, if we're going to put a video game console in the living room, it's going to run Windows.
Once or twice a week, we'd get pings from all sorts of different groups around Microsoft. Office was kind of the notorious one, saying, hey, I hear we're doing a console. I hear it's going to run Windows. What do I have to do to get a build of Office running on it?
Oh my God. Could you imagine a world where you had all the fucking bloat on your Xbox? At 365 on your Xbox popping up?
I bet people would like to edit their Word documents while sitting on the couch. What's the rating of this? Like, okay, so we had to do two things. One, we had to tell these groups off.
Yeah, no, we're not putting fucking Word documents. This is a gaming console.
That is not what this is. If you actually think people want to sit back on their couch doing spreadsheets, it's not going to happen. At the same time, we needed a lot of code from these groups. So we had to tell them to off nicely.
You're dismissed.
The services that Windows provides are really valuable, but the most important thing for games is speed. If you have an operating system taking 15% of the CPU and half the disk, you're dead.
One possible solution was to use just the Windows NT kernel, essentially the brain of the operating system. This would leave more space and flexibility for developers to program games. There was just one problem with that solution. The Xbox team didn't have access to that kernel, and the Windows team wasn't about to share it.
You know what's funny? I think the only reason, and I've said this before in the past, I think the only reason that Xbox is still, because they were getting away from console completely. They weren't going to do any more consoles, chat. Believe what you want. They were done with consoles. Okay? The only reason they bring it back is because the gamers want that physical thing. They want to know, why am I spending money to go play your thing, right? Like, why am I going to buy your games? If I can buy your games on a PC, why do I need your box, right? And there's a whole culture of people that just have been playing video games on console, so they know nothing else, right? So they're like, oh my God, they're going to take our console away. What does this mean? And they don't want to go to the other console. They just want their console. So Microsoft at this point, again, this is just my thought, okay? They're like, well, we can eat the cost of the few because these people want the console. Hence why they're raising the price. That way they make money on the consoles for the few that want the consoles. And then everybody else, they want that subscription model. They want to get the software. They want to get that, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they want. So they're going to make the console because the people that want consoles. But everybody else, which is a much, much bigger pool on PC, on cloud, on mobile, that's what they want. Bill Gates said it himself. You can't have hardware.
Here we are in the computer room that holds all of our server machines.
If we'd have gone and asked the Windows team, they would have insisted that we take Windows as is, no modifications, subject to their approval, and we just could not bring that baggage over. So we had to steal it. We stole it. We stole it, yeah.
Do you see a pattern here, chat? Do you see a pattern with all these companies stealing shit from other companies?
Yes.
I have it running on this machine here.
We actually grabbed it at night off of a server when no one was looking, about 3 weeks before a major Windows release was going to happen. We brought it back and just started hacking and slashing stuff out of it.
Imagine working for the company and you had to steal from your own company.
We had to refactor and cleave off functionality to make this box so tuned that the games could be brilliant. What started out as a 4.5 megabyte working set for the kernel got that down to about 200K. So a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what Windows is actually made it over to Xbox.
You could call this the evolutionary approach.
It becomes clear that what we're going to do is not what Bill and Steve thought they had approved.
Xbox would have the heritage of Windows, but not actually Windows itself.
The new operating system was streamlined, but nothing like the Windows-powered version the team had pitched to win the technology bake-off against Windows CE. With GDC 2000 just 1 month away, for Thompson and the team, it was the moment of truth.
They sold Xbox to Bill Gates, and they did a bait and switch at GDC. Bro, I'm surprised these guys still had jobs.
Time to call one final meeting. A do-or-die presentation to Bill Gates on Valentine's Day to ask if he could open his heart to a Windows Lite version of Xbox.
Oh my God.
We had to go to Bill and tell him that what he wanted most out of this, he was not going to get. This wasn't going to run Windows.
I can't imagine how it could be better.
Oh, Bill's not going to be happy.
This was the final meeting to either approve the Xbox or cancel it. One of the highest stakes meetings I was at my whole time at Microsoft.
Which is the Valentine's Day Massacre.
It's like fucking Game of Thrones, man. Do you see how corporations work, man? They don't give two shits. They don't give two shits about anybody. It's a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog world. People are stealing from people inside their own companies just so they can get ahead.
It's like a 4:30 meeting. Rick, Thompson, myself, Ed Freeze, Jay Allard are the 4 Xbox folks there. Steve's there.
There was a whole outer group of people, too. So this room was packed.
Well, about 15 minutes late, Bill walks in.
He's holding the
Sup,
PowerPoint
bitches?
presentation.
Boom.
And he walks
I'm Bill Mother Gates.
up to the table, and he throws it down on the table, and he says, "This is a insult to everything I've accomplished at this company."
Leans across at me and says, "Why are you trying to kill Windows?
You guys have lied to me. You guys have like played me for a fool."
I start to try to argue for this, why we can't have the normal version of Windows. Bill doesn't want any of it. He doesn't want to hear it. He yells at me, shuts me down.
You got a lot of alphas in the room and all alpha males, and so there's a lot of pounding the table.
A lot of toxicity back then. I'm sure if a female was in the room, everyone would settle down.
And you're wrong, I'm right.
By then, Jay is up, he's ready to fight. And so then Jay goes in, then Robbie tries to talk to Bill, and Bill yells at Robbie.
If I'd had glasses on, I would have needed windshield wipers on him because he was spitting at us so hard and so fast.
Bill would yell at us for a while about these different things, and then Ballmer would take over on the business case, and the business case looked terrible.
By now, and the reason it's called the Valentine's Day Massacre is because all Valentine's Day activities are now off.
The candles at home, they're melting, and we're all missing dinner.
And the meeting gets to this sort of crescendo. And I said, okay, well, then let's not do it. We haven't announced anything. So that led to another hour.
And then somebody says, what about Sony?
Microsoft had owned the den and the office.
How cool!
And the thought of Sony owning the rest of the home is offensive to Bill. But
they played Bill on them liking something more than Windows. Oh, they pulled at the heartstrings of Bill Gates himself.
The Xbox, it's the antithesis of everything that Microsoft is. It takes all of the hardware burden onto us, so it's really hard to make business sense of it. That's equally offensive. And what's going on with Bill and Steve was figuring out which of those was least offensive.
Do you see what War Dogs did last week by telling you why not to buy the game, got people to buy the game? They just did that to Bill Gates. They're like, yeah, but we get it, Bill. We fucked up. We fucked up. But Sony is going to be in everyone's household. And do you want them to beat you in this thing? And he's like, I don't want Sony to beat me. And he doesn't even care about being mad at them anymore for what they did. He's just like, yeah, go ahead, Dad. Let's do it.
To them.
Bill kind of pauses and he thinks and he says, I think we should do this.
They fucking mind fucked him. They reversed it on him. They reverse engineered, as Madden reverse engineered, or EA reverse engineered the Genesis. These guys just literally reverse engineered Bill Gates' brain. He was going off on them, and then all of a sudden, they swapped it up. And he's like, I can't let Sony win.
And Ballmer's like, yeah, we should do this. And then they start getting excited and it starts going back and forth. We should do this. We should let these guys do this. Bill's like, okay, we're going to give you guys everything you asked for.
Like what the fuck just happened? Could you imagine being in this room? God, I would have loved a bit of fly on this wall.
Or really want you to be successful in this project. You have all my support. And that part of the meeting.
That's the camera person in me. Like, I used to do reality shows and stuff like that for just sitting there and just watching the drama unfold. God, I would have loved to have been there. I could just picture it, the tight shot getting in his face when he's screaming at him.
It took 5 minutes. And I turned to Robbie. I'm like, Robbie, that was the weirdest meeting I've been in at 15 years at this company.
All I remember is Kevin Bacchus coming by and basically saying,
you know what's also happened there? Think about this moment that they just talked about back in 1999 or 2000, whatever it is, okay? Imagine the same scenario happening today. We would have reports about HR departments being called and how toxic the guy would be, how screaming was going on, and how there's just so much masculinity there and so much tension. Like 1,000% would be a completely different being here today than it was back then.
we're doing it. We're doing it.
The system was going to get built. Hundreds of millions of dollars would be spent marketing it.
Even Bomber said, once we say yes to this, we're saying yes to this. This is real. This is as real as it gets right now.
From that angle, this guy...
Even Bomber said, once we say yes to this, we're saying yes to this. This is...
He looks like Bob Iger. Right? He looks like Bob Iger from this side profile.
Real. This is as real as it gets right now. We're going to book the speech at GDC.
Bill Gates was going to go on stage in front of the world and announce it.
And it became very real when Rick Thompson sent an email saying that Xbox had been approved for an initial funding of $1 billion.
This is why when dudes argue, okay, we can literally punch each other in the face, and at the end of it go, "You good? Yeah, I'm good. You want to get a drink? Yeah, let's go." Right? That's the difference.
With $1 billion on the line and less than a month left until GDC, Xbox's big debut had more writing on it than ever. The team set to work creating a prototype and recruiting game developers to the platform, a monumental task for a software company that didn't have much street cred.
When it came to console gaming in the late 90s, there was no perception of Microsoft. They weren't in the picture.
Yep.
But when it came to the PC side of gaming, Microsoft had a reputation.
Ed Freeze had built Microsoft Game Studios and kind of organized the studio structure by genre. We had like a role-playing studio. We had a sports studio.
We were doing golf. We had a basketball title and we had a baseball title.
But it was around the time we shipped Age of Empires.
Hey, look, it's Laura Fryer.
That we started to really get respect.
You've built a glorious empire.
It was just a beautiful game. It was beautifully scored.
Age was a great game. It was a ton of fun. Everyone loved it.
Age of Empire.
Isn't Bonnie Ross, didn't she leave? Where is she now? She was making something recently. Wasn't she making like a Star Wars game or something?
Ours is a grand franchise. But if you talk to somebody that likes to play Super Mario Brothers, it's a really kind of a different customer entirely. And I think that they didn't necessarily view Microsoft as being in the gaming business.
Here we go!
To recruit console game developers to its unproven platform, Microsoft had to innovate development tools that would rival the competition, making game developers an offer they couldn't refuse.
We were all about what we were giving the game developers to work with to create the greatest games ever made.
The PS2 was really, really unfriendly environment to developers. Seamus Blackley and Kevin Bacchus and Ed Freeze, they were saying, we're going to fix this. So more of the money is going on the screen, not just trying to figure out the convoluted hardware. And that was like, really? I mean,
Am I mixing her up with Amy Hennig? No. Bonnie Ross, no. Amy Hennig did Star Wars and Marvel as well. She went somewhere else. I just don't remember what it is, Titan. I could have sworn she was working on something.
It was like oxygen.
This was going to do things that the PlayStation can't, which meant to me we could tell more stories, create characters that people care about, and create worlds that would be very difficult to do on the PlayStation. It's time.
We know at this point we're heading toward Xbox announcement at GDC. Game developers have to be excited so that they could
talk to their other friends in the games industry and tell them, you know what? Xbox is legit.
The innovations offered in the Xbox created a promising future for console game developers. But to deliver that future, Microsoft still needed to complete a working prototype to debut on stage at the Game Developers Conference.
When Microsoft first started talking about doing a game console, everybody's willing to listen, but you need to see it.
We had to create a prototype game console that was obviously not going to be the final design.
Maybe I'm getting confused. Where it wasn't a Star Wars game, but she was comparing something to Star Wars. I know she was Halo. But I could have sworn she left for something. Am I wrong on that?
Design of the hardware, because we didn't know what Xbox was ultimately going to look like. But at the same time, looked nothing like a PC.
I had started working with the hardware guys' rapid prototyping group, which was literally in the parking garage. And they had like built a temporary structure and a bunch of parking spaces and like made it like a little office. So I went to this area where the artists were, and they were having a remote control car race in the office.
Oh my God. They're like, yeah, you guys working on the game? They're like, no, we're doing remote control cars.
Around the desk, going right around. And that's how I met Horace Luke.
In a lot of ways, I work very scattermind. I don't really work on a linear path. Most of my days spent with markers and paper and just doodling.
I remember the guys coming in about 6 or 7 in the evening when everybody's leaving the office with this big motherboard from the 90s. This gigantic board that had all these PCI slots on it, and said, put this into something that is presentable on stage. And I still remember staring at it going, what do I do with this thing? The traditional Microsoft product was very ergonomic centric. The mouse, the keyboard.
RC calls are offensive now.
Though the Xbox was very different. It was about storytelling.
There's a lot of people focused on what's this set-top box gonna look like in my living room. But that wasn't what we cared about. Horace was really interested in what was happening when you got sucked through that screen.
The role of the designer, it was how to tell the story at a glance. That Microsoft is about to go into a...
What's the story now? I'm looking at a fucking monolith here of a black tower. What's that story? Like, what are we talking about?
Space that is brand new to what Microsoft was accustomed to. Telling people that this thing is going to be the most badass thing you can imagine.
I would go down and visit Horace, and there would be scraps of prototype drawings and other pieces of vision work that he would have.
The whole idea was this nuclear reactor almost, trying to hold this energy that's inside that is so intense.
He's like, dude, we need a metal X, and it's got to have a green eye, you know, shooting a laser out.
And he's always going to use sound effects, so he's going to be like...
I want it to blind people, because that's kind of how Horace would talk about these things.
That sense of escape and that sense of capability and power is what we try to create with this green portal. And inside there, everything is possible. That was how we wanted people to feel when it's on stage.
You could have shown up to GDC and plugged in a PC and tried to tell people it was a console, and not a single person in that audience, I don't even think we would have believed
give a shit
that that was really going to be a console. So we knew we needed to show something beautiful.
People got to be able to tell in an instinct that this thing is called Xbox.
What we ended up building was a 40-pound machined...
God damn. 40 pounds.
Aluminum X that had been buffed to a chrome finish.
This is fucking Tesla before Tesla.
These big, beautiful, shiny chrome X's, they were like these incredible sports cars.
We ended up taking literally a solid hunk of aluminum and carved it with a 6-axis CNC machine. That box took 2 weeks to carve and 1 week to polish.
Building those metal X's was very trying.
Did you see his face? Hold on a second. Listen to what he says.
Building those metal X's was
right there. He's like, he's remembering the moment that it happened, and he's like, they were trying times. Watch again.
2 weeks to carve and 1 week to polish.
Building those metal X's was
Right there. That pause of moment of silence was like, that moment of time was the biggest hell of my entire life, right? It's embedded in his brain.
Very trying.
Drew and I just, after work, get a can of kerosene, get a rag, and just keep buffing it. Rub until that thing was polished.
Somebody brought it out into a meeting and took a towel off of it and showed it to us, and I was like, that can't be in people's living rooms. And everyone's like, calm down. It's a concept.
And I'm like, okay, awesome about the green eye. How am I going to fit the components in there? And what we ended up doing is, if you look at...
Look how thick that goddamn thing is. Look, that's my computer sideways. Holy Christ.
And what we ended up doing is, if you look at a PC, there's like this main motherboard. So we stuck the motherboard at this, on one angle.
We had to shave off the edge of the motherboard because it just didn't fit.
We soldered the hardware together ourselves and borrowed space in the lab.
I'm sure people looked at that and they're like, whoa, it's like this polished X. It's got this,
Oh yeah, he had PTSD, Roick. When he mentioned that, he like traveled back in time, saw what was happening in that moment, and was like reliving it.
Amazing green eye. But it was the world's messiest PC build. Like, it was components like just jammed in there. And you're like, is it gonna work? Oh, well, work this time. I guess that's the one we'll take with us to GDC.
It's sometimes possible to forget about the people who actually make the games. And so we're here in San Jose, California for the Game Developers Conference.
Has this man fallen so far? Adam Sessler. Man.
To remind ourselves that without these people, we'd still be playing checkers.
Announcing Xbox at the Game Developers Conference was like every Christmas morning rolled up together.
Video game developers are upping the ante on creating realistic games. Microsoft upped the competitive ante, announcing a new concept codenamed Xbox.
At GDC, the idea was that Seamus would go on and basically be the demo guy, talk about Xbox, show the demos.
But this was the first time that Seamus had stood in front of an audience of game developers and gamers.
Why did he fall so far? I forgot what he did. He lost his fucking mind. That's what he did.
Since the launch of Trespasser.
Before he came to Microsoft, we knew Seamus from his stint at DreamWorks on Trespasser.
It was a personal passion of Spielberg. He was very involved in it.
I'm in Steven Spielberg's office.
It weighed 40 pounds, Argus. That PC weighed 40 pounds.
And we're going to do a game that could be a spiritual successor to Jurassic Park that takes all of the principles of game design that I thought were important.
Seamus really hit on this idea of trying to use physics to simulate a world populated by dinosaurs.
I wrote a big physics system in order to make an island that was completely physically simulated.
And they say every leaf and every branch that you walk into in the woods is gonna move. And that was kind of a dream that we're like, yeah, that sounds good, but how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna make that perform? Well, the end of the story was we're not.
And I made every mistake in the book. You can read about this online, all the stupid things that I'd managed in that project. And we shipped it before it was done. We shipped this broken game right into the jaws of the birth of internet gaming sites and the first fan sites. I personally just got destroyed online, and I had never seen it.
It's the same hitbox as I got in Battlefield 6 today.
Anybody destroyed online. We know what that's like now. I thought my career was over. Everyone who was present in San Jose at the Game Developers Conference, they knew my failures with Trespasser. I remember sitting in my hotel room, and I had to convince myself to just go show my face at this thing. And it was terrifying.
The day of the unveil of Xbox, I took 3 Xboxes with me, like these metal...
It doesn't look that bad from the front point of view. But when you go to the side profile, holy Christ.
One for the stage and then 2 for as like, what happens if this fails.
We hand carry these things down in transit because these things are fragile. The idea was showing live demos, proving that we actually had nothing up our sleeves.
The game developers are not going to be tolerant of any level of bull at all.
All the things on the screen were specifically to show game developers that this Xbox was far and away better than any of the other consoles that they'd ever seen before.
And they have to be done in such a way where it's clearly interactive, clearly real, clearly running on the hardware as advertised.
We hand carry them down, we set them up, we turn them on. The first one doesn't work.
I opened up the first machine, like I'm like, what the is going on here? Like something jiggling around that wasn't quite right, and you're like, oh my God, like what happened in there?
So then we set up the second one, it doesn't work either. And the third one, none of them work. Seamus is backstage soldering, trying to get everything ready as the auditorium is filling up.
He was looking on the verge of green. He just looks sick. You know, I was like, well, maybe this is stage nerves, but then I realized, you know, well.
This is why he's bald. Yeah, he lost his hair that moment.
Maybe it's also because all of our demo machines were completely deconstructed.
We're panicked out of our minds because Seamus went on stage to talk to the most cynical audience in the entire world.
If you took a photo from the stage of GDC, you would see, you know, gamers and game developers, and they'd all look very excited.
There right there is the age bracket that we're in now, right? Like 48, 50, right? That back 20 years ago, they were in their late 20s, early 30s. There's the cynical people. There you go. There's the cynical people that are like, show me what you got.
But underneath that layer are, you know, the most critical people you've ever met, waiting to hate that thing that you created.
Kevin was underneath this.
What if someone would try to sabotage them? Maybe. Or they just did it themselves.
Stage with a video switch box that could switch from the Xbox prototype that was on stage running the demos to one that Drew was standing backstage doing everything the same way I was doing it, so Kevin could switch between the two of them in case it crashed.
I swear to God, every single company that's a multi-million, billion, or trillion-dollar company is flying by the seat of their fucking pants. Every single one.
And then it's in front of the boss. The boss is coming on.
I'd like to ask Seamus Blackley to come on out and give us a look.
And then somebody decided we're going to make him put on a special leather jacket that doesn't really fit him.
We don't have the box, but we do have the leather jacket, so we're
oh my God, dude.
ready to go.
Well, we do have one box. This is our show box. So now, as I walk out on stage,
Bill right there is looking at this going, don't fuck this up. Right? Don't fuck this up. That's that look right there.
With Bill G, the full weight of my failed game, Trespasser, all of my dreams in the game industry, the ridicule that I thought I was going to suffer at the hands of every game developer who saw me fail to deliver this great thing, all of that pressure came to bear. We get up there, and I run the first demo.
What I'm going to show you now is an example of advanced lighting techniques that are possible under DirectX 8.
We made a bunch of little toys that sat around your desk, like a little merry-go-round with dynamic lights.
Complicated shadows drawn across very complicated objects. There are reflections, there's environment mapping going on. And all this is happening at full hardware rate. Another great example of that is our water demo.
You can now see caustics on the bottom of a pool. All those things come from the power processing on a per pixel basis. And that's really what the big differentiator was for Xbox.
This demo took, I think, a day to get running. And I can't underscore the importance of that enough. This takes Xbox from being a programmer-driven console to being an artist-driven console, a design-driven console. And that's really at the heart of the entire program.
The demo, it had a joke in it.
There's a classic Microsoft picture in the background.
Oh yeah, baby, that's...
Why? Why would you do that?
Texture resolution right there.
These were really smart demos and really ambitious. But when we saw the physics demo, I was like, wow, how's that computing?
In my high school physics class, I was scarred with the image of chain reaction as demonstrated by the old ping pong ball and mousetrap demo.
Physics was something that everybody wanted to do. Seamus had tried physics with his Jurassic Park game, and it didn't work so great. But now you were seeing those ideas actually working right.
A great example of the CPU doing all of this collision, all of this physics at the same time that the graphics processor is rendering the scene for us.
Physics is cool.
to that crowd.
The Raven and Robot video, you could see the photorealism.
The huge chrome robot that basically was motion captured by...
You gotta remember, this is not for gamers, this is for developers, right? They're pitching it to developers.
A female character called Raven.
The level of physics simulation that was happening there, how much the CPU was being taxed, you knew as a developer, this thing was really...
If they show that today, that'd be woke, by the way. Just letting you know.
Really powerful.
I was like, wow, we have got to get onto this box.
I was very surprised by the Xbox. I was expecting it to be kind of cool.
Look at Cliff. What is he? Was he going for, like, Zorro? What? I mean, he's a millionaire, so.
Like a stripped down PC, but what I wound up seeing very much excited me.
These demos were instrumental and so critical to the importance of Xbox and people believing in it.
To get honest, candid feedback from our peers, it was exciting because we saw the enthusiasm for Xbox and we knew that we had accomplished something.
Xbox is really going to be the king of the game stations. This is like a PlayStation 2 on steroids.
People are kind of giving us high fives, saying congratulations, and I'm like, do we actually do this?
I've never seen so much advance in one particular piece of technology before, ever.
From that moment on, we had credibility with publishers and with game developers.
Look at Billy's like, thank God you didn't fuck this up.
Because it was clear we did know what we were talking about.
And the next thing that mattered was that Bill Gates showed up for it. That signaled to the industry and to the rest of the world, Microsoft as a company is backing it with all of its might.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Until now. Until the last couple of years.
Despite all the fanfare surrounding Microsoft's Xbox, industry analysts say the company is going to face fierce competition.
When Sony's newest video game console, the PlayStation 2, went on sale in Japan earlier this week, consumers were frenzied with excitement. They snapped up nearly 1 million units at $370 a piece in the first 3 days alone.
We were at a disadvantage compared to Sony and Nintendo because we didn't have the legacy of building fun.
And Sony, you know, oh, they're movies, they're cool, they're awesome. And Microsoft is like, they wear khakis and they're boring and they're Office and they're Windows. And it's like...
For over a year, the team had referred to the top secret new console only...
Hey, wait a minute. Is that the X-Men logo in the background?
For over a year, the team had referred to the top secret new console only by its codename, Xbox. But now, they had a chance to christen it with a bold new name, one that wouldn't evoke Microsoft's corporate image.
Naming is the worst part of marketing. It's the hardest thing. Nobody ever 100% loves the name. Ever. Ever.
Marketing would go to the same brand people that they would use for naming components of Windows, people who knew nothing about games.
Paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through the most rigorous system of naming.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through rigorous systems just to name it the same thing they had originally.
Tested against all of the right customers, and they came back with list after list.
We had hundreds of names that were generated.
Friction. Cyclips.
These are fucking terrible.
And they were epically terrible.
Norbo.
This is what you would put into like ChatGPT. And this is what it would come back at you.
Infinity.
Zod. XOD.
Shock factor. Oh my God.
Fireplug.
Fireplug?
Equestria. Vibe with a Y.
Xantra. Xantra is absolutely a blood pressure medication.
Frontier.
Og. OG.
Velvet.
Zigzag.
These sound like... What's crazy is these sound like prototype names that they're saying. So no one could guess what the fuck you're working on.
Zimulate.
You see, anytime you're naming something, you have to play the kindergarten game that everybody plays with their children. You know, okay, I'm going to give my child this name. Now, how are people going to butcher that?
It's funny that she says this, right? I'm not going to say my son's name, but when we were going through our child's name, okay, we had like 10 names that we were going to pick, okay? And each one, we would say it in different ways. We would say it normal, We would say it screaming. We would say it as an angry person. We would say it as a happy person. We say it all these different ways. I'm not joking about this. Me and my wife went through name after name after name. Maybe we're crazy. Maybe we're normal. I don't know. But we would go through each name to see if it sounds good while saying certain things. Like you say, hey, get over here. You know what I mean? And you're saying the person's name. Does it sound good when you're angry? Does it sound good when you're happy? Does it sound good when you just say it normal? That's what we did. I can imagine for what the video game system is.
First day in school, right?
Carpet ride?
I was having conversations with Robbie about, Robbie, Xbox is a really good name. No, you can't call it Xbox. That's a code name. We don't name products code names. We need a new name. It's like, well, okay, we'll look again. I would look again and come back. And Xbox is a pretty good name.
I remember our final meeting with the naming experts. They came in with the perfect name. We've tested this extensively, and it's a winner. We tested it against the name Xbox. It blows it out of the water. Great. What's the name? With great fanfare, they unveil 11X.
Oh, man.
Because it goes to 11.
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? 11.
I looked at the marketing people. The marketing people looked at me.
Get the fuck out of the room, is what I would have said. I would be like, this is what you gave me? This is the pitch? Get the fuck out of here.
And they said, all right, we'll get on Xbox.
Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly.
There was a big debate internally about whether we should call it the Microsoft Xbox or just Xbox.
We did a lot of blind research where we would bring in gamers asking questions about what should the role of the name Microsoft be on this console. First response when we mentioned Microsoft was they rolled their eyes. A video game console from Microsoft.
What? Microsoft? Doing a console?
First of all, it would take for...
I never understood this because when you said Sony and Sony was making a video game called the PlayStation, Sony at that time was Walkman and stuff like that, right? Betamaxes and stuff like that. I never understood, like, if it's Microsoft, I get it, Windows and stuff like that, but I just never understood, like, if you put the name and then made a separate entity, which it is, why it's a big deal. But, marketing's marketing.
Ever to boot up, and then it would probably blue screen.
And then we asked them questions like, hey, if PlayStation were an animal, what animal would it be? It would be a lion, be the king of the jungle. If Microsoft were an animal, what would it be?
What do you think he's going to say? I don't know what he's going to say. What do you think he's going to say? A pig? When you say Xbox or Microsoft, you think of a pig, maybe a cow, right? I'm going to say pig or cow. That's what I think they're going to say. A wounded turtle. A sloth, okay. All right, let's rewind it here. Oh, look at that. All right, we're gonna play it. Let's see what he says.
Lion, be the king of the jungle. If Microsoft were an animal, what would it be? It'd be a spider. It could kill you, but you also just want to step.
Hold on a second. First of all, a spider is an insect. It's an insect.
If the name of Microsoft smothered the brand, it just was going to be a non-starter.
The idea that Microsoft could ever compete with Sony or Nintendo or even Sega was seen as a bit of a...
That's exactly right, Mr. Luke. That's not a fucking animal. Hey, I would have told whoever said spider, get the fuck out of the room. Get out of the room!
A joke. Might as well call it Nerd Box, right? Bill Gates was the richest man in the world. They were such an important tech force, but what they weren't was in the living room. They weren't an entertainment company.
Among gamers, 0% of people believe we could do it.
I was a journalist, and I thought, I don't know how Microsoft is going to make a console worth.
Can you imagine walking up to Bill like, hey, you know what the biggest liability I have in my new product launch is? The name of your company.
Oh, that's it? Oh, part 3 tomorrow. What a stupid person. Give me an animal's name. Spider. Get out. Get out. Get out of the room. It's not an animal. Get out of the room. You're no longer, you're part of the marketing team. Get the hell out of here. All right. I like these. I like these videos. Better than you crush the spider. All right. The next thing we're going to watch, okay, which I got to add to the, I got to add his channel to the thing here. Okay. I haven't watched anything from this person, from this channel. The channel is called Gaming Dad Legend. Okay, Gaming Dad Legend. Okay. It says gaming over 40, the truth that nobody talks about. I'm 48, right? I give you my perspective of how I play games and how I don't give a shit if someone doesn't like a game that I like, right? Because I don't care. I'm going to play what I want to play. You're going to play what you want to play, right? We just talk about the quality of the games, and then we also talk about how the corporations try to screw you over on your games. But play what you want to play, right? Just don't give them a cent until they give you a product that you like playing, okay? So let's watch this. This is Gaming Dad Legend. He's got 19,500 subscribers. Maybe one day we'll be there. Maybe one day we'll be there. All right, let's see what he has to say about gaming over 40.
I'm 44 this month. Where did that go? I've got less time to game than when I was a kid. I've got more responsibilities, and some nights, by the time we're...
Is this, yeah, we're normal. Of course you have less time of gaming. You have responsibilities.
Everything's done. I'm absolutely knackered. And the funny thing is, I think gaming might actually be better for me now. And to explain why...
I would actually agree with this. I think gaming for myself is much better now than when I was a kid. Okay, now don't get me wrong. As a kid, you're only playing the games that you get for your birthdays and Christmas, unless you're blessed and you got like I want that and you get it type of thing. But we would play games, okay, and you would enjoy the games because you have no worries in the world, right? You have no worries in the world, and your imagination is the limit. But older, I want my time being respected. I talk about this all the time. Okay. And I love that games that respect my time. Meaning if I can sit down for 20 minutes and play a game, same game, I can sit down for an hour, same game, I could play it for 10 hours. That to me is the most important thing. Time. If the developer respects my time, then I'll play your game.
I need to go back to when my uncle brought the Sega Mega Drive round to my house in a plastic bag. We plugged it into this old television that we had. The old school type of TV with that big wooden box around it, and he booted up Sonic the Hedgehog. That was it. The incredible graphics, the music, and of course, the speed. Running through Green Hill Zone and seeing this completely different world right in front of me, I was absolutely blown away. I remember hoping my uncle would somehow forget the Sega Mega Drive and leave it at our house. He didn't, but that feeling stayed with me, because when you're a kid, everything's new. You haven't seen everything before.
Sure.
You don't know what games can do yet.
Nope.
You don't sit there thinking about the campaign length, the save systems, whether you're going to finish it, or what else is sitting in your backlog. You just play.
No such thing as backlog when you're a kid. Because when you're a kid, you're only playing the thing that's in front of you. You don't care what you're not playing. That's not how kids' minds work. Kids' minds are, I'm playing this. This is it. They're not going, I got to finish this so I can get to this.
And your imagination does the rest. And I don't think it was just about Sonic. Being that age was probably an even bigger part of it. It was a completely different time in my life. Life was simple. When you're a kid, you've got a ridiculous imagination.
100%.
A new game can genuinely feel like discovering a completely different world. And the truth is, I don't think you can completely recreate that. As you get older, you've seen more. You've played more games. Plus you've got work, the bills, and of course, family responsibilities. Sure. And whenever I see people talking about gaming after 40, that's where the conversation usually goes. You've got less time, less energy, everything's different. You've got slower reflexes, kids, work, and responsibility.
Yeah, this is why it's like your taste buds change when you're eating. You know what I mean? Like when you're younger, you might like tomatoes, cucumbers. And then as you get older, you might not like tomatoes anymore. Why? Taste buds change, whatever it is, right? You might like something completely different 14 years later than you did before. Games are the same way. When we were kids, side scrollers all day, baby. Beat 'em ups all day, baby, right? Like that's what it was because that's what was given to us. But then we got bored because someone came out with something new. And that thing changed. So instead of going from left to right, all of a sudden you were going up and down, or you were going into the screen type of stuff, right? So your brain's like, oh, this is different because we were just playing the same side scrollers all day long. Hence why I can't really play side scrollers anymore. Okay. But then I played first person shooters. Love first person shooters. And I played them and played them and played all of them. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of burnt out with it. This is why I switch over to simulator games or open world games. It's the exact same thing. And as you get older, you're like, I want something that respects my time. When something comes out and it's like 40 hours, you're like, oof, 40 hours. When you're a kid, you don't give a shit about the 40 hours. You're like, I like that game. It's like, look at the box and going, the cover looks amazing, right? And then you're like, I want to play it. When you're older now, you're like, all right, how many hours is it? That's going to take me, I only play on Saturdays and Sundays. I only have about 3 hours a week. 40 hours, it's going to take me 10 weeks if I buy this game. Like, that is how it works. Because you're like, if I spend this money and this is what I'm playing, this is what I'm playing for the next 40 hours. The next 40 hours is, right? The average gamer is now over close to 40, right? I think it's like 37 or 41, something like that is the average gamer, or between 37 and 41.
And of course, sometimes you're just too tired to play. I've mentioned that on the channel because that's the reality. I live it almost every day, but I don't think that's the whole story, because that feeling I had with Sonic hasn't completely disappeared. I felt pieces of it again. Cyberpunk 2077 did it for me. I'm a huge fan of Blade Runner, so the second I got into that world, felt like I'd become Harrison Ford. Night City, the characters, the relationships, the story.
I don't think that's a real background. You said that
Ford.
in the comment section. I think this is not a real background. He's on a green screen. These are all things that he likes and put in the background.
The characters, the relationships, the story. And V, funnily enough, also had limited time. I wanted to know where it was all going. And Cyberpunk is absolutely massive. Normally, the kind of thing I'd look at and think, do I really have time for this?
That's one of the reasons I haven't jumped in, right? Because I'm past the point now that I'm like punishing, CD Projekt Red, right? I own the game. I haven't played it yet, but I haven't played it because I'm mad at them, right? When it came out, I didn't play it because it was broke, buggy, and unfinished. I own the game, but I haven't played it yet because I'm like, when do I have time to jump in and put in, even though I'll put in a game like Power World and I put in 100 fucking hours into it, right? It's because I'm interested in that game right then. I'm interested in this, but there's other games that I'm interested in, so this kind of takes a back seat because it's not new. You know what I mean?
But with Cyberpunk, I didn't care. I wanted to get back to it. I finished it 3 times, so clearly my problem isn't long games. My problem is spending time on games I don't care about.
Exactly. Now, it might be a great game. It might be game of the year and everyone loves it and everyone's telling me to play it, but at this moment, I don't care. So it's really hard to play a game I don't care about.
And I think that's one of the biggest things getting older has given me. Clarity. At this point, I've been gaming for decades. I play shooters, strategy games, RPG.
No, Tarnish, I wasn't mad at the game itself. I've said this in the past. I'm not mad at Cyberpunk 2077. I'm mad at CD Projekt Red for saying that they're not going to release a game like those other people and then coming out and lying to you and the game is broke, buggy, and unfinished. Now, I didn't buy it when it came out. I didn't buy it months afterwards either. One of my mods bought it for me. I want to say probably maybe a year and a half afterwards. And he was like, here, it was actually after they finished it. Like fixed it, not finished it. They fixed it. Okay. And he bought it for me. But that time I was like, I just don't care at this point. I own it. I will play it sometime. Right. And it's not me being like, it's not me being vindictive. Like, oh yeah, I did. Yeah. Brain did. Yeah. So, or Brainchild. So I was like, I'm going to play it. But at this point, there's new games coming out. I don't care if they're 10-hour games or 20-hour games or 100-hour games. I'm playing what's now that I'm interested in. I'm not interested. They lost that with me when they brought out a broken buggy game.
RPGs, indie games, games that I never would have touched when I was younger.
Let me rewind that for a second.
About. And I think that's one of the biggest things getting older has given me. Clarity. At this point, I've been gaming for decades. I play shooters, strategy games, RPGs, indie games, games that I never...
Travis says, I mean, it is also that you're vindictive. I'm not. See, the difference between what I'm saying and what you're saying is I say exactly what I mean, and you're just making up shit.
Would have touched when I was younger, and running this channel has pushed me into even more games, and all of that experience teaches you something. You start understanding what actually works for you. It's the same with everything else in life. You try different foods, you work out what you like, you meet different people, you learn what qualities matter to you. You go through enough experiences, and eventually you stop needing everybody else to tell you what you're supposed to like. Gaming is exactly the same. Take Total War, Warhammer for example.
I used to love fucking Total War, all of these games. I used to play the shit out of these games.
I love strategy. I love RTS games. And just from the trailers, I thought...
I mean, even so, the game I talked about earlier today, Horde Guard, kind of reminded me of it. I was like, oh, something interesting about it. Brought me back. And it's not like this. I already talked about it, but I used to love games like this. Me and Sarge just play the shit out of this.
This is right up my street. So I bought it, loaded it up, and there were systems everywhere. Menus, things I needed to learn. My brain basically went, nope.
Nope.
Could I
Yep. That's exactly right. You're like, nope, I'm good.
Spend 10 hours learning?
It could be the greatest game in the world. And for whatever reason, where you are in your life as an older gamer, you're like, I could play this. I could learn all the stuff about the game. Or I can jump back into Pal World and just play. I could play this. I could put 10, 20, 30 hours in this. Or I could play War Dogs and just jump in and have fun. Right? Like, do I want to learn all the intricates of this? Or do I just want to shoot shit in the face and be done with it?
All of it and eventually love it? Maybe. I just didn't want to. So I moved on.
100% feel it. And people that are younger don't understand this until you get older, which is fine.
Simple. I don't really second guess those decisions anymore. I don't have time to waste. That's the bottom line.
I love it. I love hearing it. Okay. Again, 48. He's 44. I've been talking about this shit since I was 30.
If something clicks with me, I'll give it my hours.
100%.
Cyberpunk proved that. But if it doesn't, there's no rule saying I have to keep going because somebody online gave it 10 out of 10.
And that's one of the reasons when you guys talk about a game and you're like, oh, this looks great. I'm like, yeah, it looks great. I'm not interested. I don't care. Right? It's not dismissing it saying, I don't care because I think it looks shit. I just don't care. Wolverine, perfect game. When I was a kid, right? Hell, even when I was 10 years younger, I might be like, PlayStation? Got a PlayStation. I got to buy Wolverine. But now, don't care. Don't care about Sony. Don't care about Wolverine. Wolverine's my favorite. Okay, X-Men. Spider-Man's my favorite character. Right? I own Spider-Man. I'm like, I'm okay. I don't need it. Doesn't mean the game's bad in any way, shape, or form. It just means I'm not interested.
I don't really care about scores anymore. I don't really care about proving I'm good at a game. I'll happily play it on easy. I'm totally fine.
Preach. I don't care if it's on the hardest difficulty, medium difficulty, or easy difficulty. I care if I'm enjoying the game at that moment.
To finally say that out loud. You don't have to finish everything. You don't even have to play on hard mode. You don't need to keep up with every single release. You don't need to love the game everybody else loves. And who cares about the FOMO? When I was a kid, I had loads of time, but what I didn't have was much choice. You needed your parents to buy a game. Maybe
I think I don't know what happened there. It's happened twice now, Eclipse, during the stream where it cuts off completely.
It was on your birthday. Maybe it was Christmas. Maybe you saved up washing cars or delivering papers. You'd go into a shop, look at the boxes, and half the time the decision was just, that cover looks awesome.
That's exactly what it was. Hence why now it's not about the box cover for me. It's about, let me see it. Let me see gameplay. You have a new game? Let me see gameplay. The trailer, again, the game we just talked about earlier today, Horde Guard, okay? Saw a trailer last night. It was like a minute long. I saw it and I went, that looks interesting. Demo? Fantastic. those two things, trailer looked interesting. I got to play the demo. They sold me, right? They sold me. I'm like, that's a good game. I'm interested in that game. I will now purchase that game down the road.
And for me, that was enough. Getting a new game felt huge, and I do miss that. There's something about having fewer games that made each one feel even more important. You play the same game again and again because that's the one you had. Now it's completely flipped. I've got far less time, but if there's a game I want and I can afford it, I can buy it. I can download it tonight. And we've got games available to us that I never could have imagined as a kid. But somehow we've managed to turn that into another problem.
I'll play this when it comes to Game Pass.
You sit down with hundreds of games and spend 20 minutes scrolling instead of playing anything. I've done that plenty of times. I've even got a name for it, my Steam Library of Guilt. But I've started looking at it differently recently too. My backlog isn't another project I need to think about. Owning a game doesn't create an obligation to even play it.
This is exactly why I know a lot of you guys do this. I don't personally do this. Like if I purchase a game, I start playing it right away. I don't buy a game because it's on sale and then go, oh, I'll put it in my backlog. Most of the time I do not do that. What I do is I'll buy a game, play the game, and then I'll put the game down once I feel like I have enough like time in that game to satisfy me. If it goes on sale, I'll just get it when it goes on sale again, because at some point it'll be on sale again. Right? Instead of putting it in my backlog, and then my backlog keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I have a backlog, but my backlog is different now because I played Dune Awakening. I played 160 hours of Dune Awakening, but now they're updating it again. So I'll go back to that, right? I haven't tried. I have about 20, 25 hours into it, but I bought it because 1.0 is going to come out. So I'm going to play that when it's 1.0, right? I have, what's another one? Not Dune. RuneScape. RuneScape, I bought 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. It's coming back out and it's 1.0. I'll play it again, right? There's a lot of live service or games that they're updating and put it back where I played them, but now I'm going back to them because now they're releasing. But for the most part, I really don't have a backlog, right? I don't have a backlog.
If I never play half of them, nothing happens. They're just choices. And the older I get, the better I think I've become at choosing. Modern gaming actually helps with that too. I can grab a Steam Deck, sit downstairs near my family, play for 20 minutes, suspend it, and come back later. All of those little conveniences matter more to me now because the 20 minutes I actually get matter. I don't need 2 hours just to feel like I've done.
Mr. Luke says, my backlog is all free games. All I buy, I play until it's not fun. Or I'm just done with it. That's exactly right. Perfect example, Mr. Luke, Arc Raiders. I had a fucking blast playing Arc Raiders, right? Especially with you. Had a blast. I'm good. I put 75 hours into that game, $40 game. I'm good.
Something. And then you've got remasters, remakes, and re-releases. Games I thought I'd left behind 30 years ago that can suddenly be sitting in front of me again. And of course, they don't always feel exactly the same. I'm different. Life's changed, but those memories are still there. Sonic, Command & Conquer, Doom, games that can take you somewhere magical. And now I've got something else that my 10-year-old me didn't have. My boys.
That's true as well. I love playing games with my son. Love playing games with my son. Even the games I don't want to play, right? He'll make me play Humans Fall Flat, or he'll make me play Fall Guys, or he'll make me play Fortnite with him, or we'll play I love playing Minecraft with him. I'm really excited to play Hightail with him because I think he's going to love Hightail. But I love playing games with him. We'll play Forza together, Farm Sim.
They love gaming, so now I get to watch them discover things. They've got their own games, they'll have their own memories, their own version of Sonic arriving in a plastic bag, or, more accurately these days, a download button on the internet. And sometimes I get to share some of my memories with them too.
Oh, the finals. Yeah, he makes me play the finals and stuff like that, yeah.
That's a completely different kind of gaming experience. You lose some things as you get older, but you gain others. Even the guilt's changed for me. I've spoken a lot about gaming guilt because I genuinely used to feel it. I'd think, should I really be playing this right now? And the strange thing is, most of that pressure was coming from me. My wife wasn't standing there telling me I wasn't allowed to play. I was putting that pressure on myself. But I'm past that now. I love...
Oh, my wife has never minded me playing video games. Never mind me playing video games, right? She loves sitting down and reading books. My enjoyment is sitting down playing video games. Sometimes she'll come in and just sit next to me as we play video games, right? Obviously, that happens less and less because I only play most of my games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights. But on the weekends when I play, she'll come in and hang out with me. I have a chair right in my room that she comes in and we just sit and talk while I play video games.
Gaming. I need it in my life. It's part of who I am. Yeah, I'm a husband. I'm a dad. I've got responsibilities. I've got a career, but I'm still a gamer. All of those things can exist together. Gaming doesn't come at the expense of the important things in my life. It does sometimes come at the expense of my sleep though, but that's tomorrow morning's problem.
That's your
And
choice.
I think that's where the whole thing finally clicked for me.
Crimson Desert was doing that to me. When I was playing Crimson Desert, I was staying up till fucking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing that thing.
When I was younger, I had loads of time and very little control over what I played. Now I've got less time, but I know exactly how I want to spend it. And that's a pretty good trade. Because
that is very true. I like what he said there. I'm going to rewind that for a second. Right?
I had loads of time and very little control.
Had plenty of time, but very little control. Now I have very little time, but I know exactly what I want to play.
Over what I played. Now I've got less time, but I know exactly how I want to spend it. And that's a pretty good trade. Because the older you get, the more you understand what time is actually worth. My kids aren't going to be at this stage forever. I'm not going to be 44 forever. None of this lasts forever. And I think that's exactly why it matters. Time with your family matters because it's limited.
And that's why I stream Monday through Thursday. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday is my time.
Watching your kids grow up because you know this version of them isn't going to be around forever. And that hour you finally get to yourself to play matters too. So spend it well. Play on easy. Replay something you loved when you were 12. Spend 100 hours in Cyberpunk if you can't stop thinking about it, just like I did. Play for 20 minutes.
Toe Jam and Earl, man.
And then turn it off. Walk away from the game everybody else loves because it's doing absolutely nothing for you. You don't have to prove anything.
I remember Destin Laguerre was talking. I forget what game it was. Everybody was playing. What game was it? Everybody was loving the game. And he was like, I don't get it. He was trying to force himself to like something that everybody else liked, but he didn't like it. I forget what game it was. And I was like, maybe it's just not for you. It's okay that if a game comes out, like Mortal Shell, right? That's the next game that everyone's like talking about. I have no interest in Mortal Shell. Zero, right? Zero interest in it. Does it mean it sucks? No. Just, I don't care for it.
And yeah, you can argue about AAA gaming, live services, prices, and everything else happening in gaming right now. And that's for another video, because this comes down to something much simpler for me. Knowing who you are, knowing...
Oh, give me a second. Someone rang the doorbell. I'll be right back.
what you love, and having enough experience to recognize what deserves the limited time you've got. 10-year-old me had hours. He had a sense of discovery that I'll probably never completely...
My son's going through this right now, right? Like over the summer, like Fridays and Saturdays. So when he comes home from school, he just wants to come home and relax and play some video games. Saturday's family time, right? So we'll go out to dinner or something on Friday nights. And then he wants to get home because he could play a little later on Fridays, right? Saturdays is like we go out and do stuff, and then he can play a little bit. But Sundays is his day to just sit down and play whatever games he wants. He loves just vegging out on Sundays and just playing whatever game feels. And he'll flip-flop through like, I want to say like 4 or 5 different games.
Get back. I wouldn't trade those memories for anything. But 44-year-old me has something he didn't have. Experience, clarity, and the freedom to enjoy gaming on my terms. Maybe that's the truth about gaming after 40. You don't lose the gamer you were, you just understand him better. And if you're a dad still finding...
I want to play this game. Have you any of you guys played Cloudpunk? Have you guys played this game?
time for games you love. You're already a Gaming Dad legend. And a big shout out to every older gamer still playing. Are you still gaming after 40? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, legend.
I mean, unless the game industry just completely screws up everything, I'm going to be playing games as long as I'm living. But that's just me. That was a good video. We might have to watch some of his other stuff down the road. I don't know why it popped up. Maybe because I'm 48 and he's 44 and he's talking about 40-year-old gaming. Not too sure, but link in the description down below. If you guys like it, hit the like button on his channel. Give it a sub. Give it a follow. All right, let's go. What time is it right now? It was exactly. Hey, when I stop gaming, I'll be in the dirt. Let's see what's going on Twitter. Anything? Oh, Jason said they made an announcement for the new DLC for Cosmic Invasion. What's that look like? What is this? PlayStation. We don't care about the PlayStation 6 or the Xbox Series, whatever. Ooh. The Siege of Castle Doom. Wait, is that a DLC that's coming out? Or is that an actual... Like, do I get to play as Doom? What's happening here? Prepare to face the wrath of Doom in an all-new DLC featuring brand new game mode and 2 additional playable characters. Oh, well, who's the characters? Did they tell the characters? Oh. Me and Mr. Luke are going to be playing that. Let's see. Anything else going on here? You want to start that? Are you available tomorrow, Luke? You want to start that tomorrow after the morning stream? When is it out? I don't know when that's out. It doesn't say. All right, so tomorrow we'll go till noon. Then I'll take a break, eat my lunch, and then we'll come back around 12:30, 12:45. And then we'll play from 12:45 to about 12:45. Yeah, to about 2:45 to 3 o'clock, or as long as you can play. My cutoff's 3, so yeah, we've been watching a lot of videos as of late because a lot of the stories and stuff that are happening is just kind of mundane. It's funny to me because everyone's talking about the cloud gaming and all this other stuff that's going on, but we already talked about that stuff. Like, we've been talking about that stuff for like fucking 2 years, and at this point, I'm gone. I'm like, let's learn some stuff. Let's watch some videos. Let's be entertaining. Watch some stuff that we can educate ourselves on, so we can have better conversations in the future. 8 p.m. cutoff. All right, cool. Yeah, each person gets 2 heroes. Yeah, you could like swap out. I have it on Xbox. Is that what you're playing on, Luke? It's crossplay, isn't it? Is it cross? I think it's crossplay. Let's see. What else is happening? Oh, did you guys see this? There was a new Star Wars game that now shown up that it got canceled. Star Wars was a AAA action RPG where you could play as a Jedi or a Mandalorian. Footage has emerged of Star Wars and scrapped action RPG that allows you to play as either a Jedi or Mandalorian. MP1's was published in the first publicly seen artwork and gameplay. A source of a portfolio of the artist who also worked on the project is now shuttered Extra Games. Based in San Francisco until the closure last year. Okay, let's see. Ultimately launched Torchlight 3 in 2020. The company has then bought Zynga, and then also never shipped another project, which also revealed the studio has also been building another Star Wars project. Let us be published by Zynga following its arena shooter Star Wars Hunters. So here you go. This is some concept art and some gameplay. I'm gonna lower the music so I don't get hit. Which is kind of funny because right now, inside of Fortnite, you can play a game like this. There you have different missions and stuff you're going on. I mean, it's not really an RPG, but you can upgrade your weapons and whatnot. Looks pretty decent. It's a shame it didn't get made. I mean, I guess it did get made. They just didn't complete it, which is crazy. It's got to suck, and I've worked on projects like this myself in the film industry, where you literally work, you do all the work, you get your pay, right? You get paid, but it doesn't get made. It doesn't go out past that, and you never see the light of day. So it's crazy. Another Star Wars game. I think at this point now, I think there's been more Star Wars games canceled than launched in the last decade. Yeah, I think there's been more Star Wars games canceled than the actual games that have come out by Star Wars. Interesting. I think tonight, I don't think I'm going to play Horde Guard on stream tonight because the game is not out. It's a demo. Maybe I will. Maybe a little half. We'll play that because it's not really a long demo. Maybe I'll play that tonight and then we'll switch over to Starship Troopers because I'm playing Starship Troopers a lot now. Maybe we'll play that tonight. So we'll do like a twofer. It'll be like the game of Horde Guard, the demo playtest, and then it'll be Starship Troopers. I think that's what we're going to do tonight. Cancel Star Wars projects in general. Well, yeah, even the films and stuff like that as well. I'm just talking about video games. Video games, I think there's more been canceled video games than actual ones that have been released. Do you have any interest in Eclipse or Nope? Eclipse is the one by the ones that made Detroit Become Human and stuff like that. Quantum. How can I be interested in something I don't even know what the fuck it is? Do you know what I mean? Don't even know what the fuck it is. We haven't seen anything of it. Mr. Luke says, I saw in the E-Day setting, it had power save mode for mobile. Clips, you want to play some? I got our company. It's only me and you in our company, but I got up to level 3 or almost to level 3 for the company. If it's even real, because the news on the studio are not good. For which game, Altern? Yeah, I can't be excited. Again, this comes with age. I can't be excited for something that I can't see. And even if you show it to me, I'm not excited about it. For instance, Total War, Warhammer, got delayed 3 months, right? I don't get excited until it actually, I don't cash my checks before, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to cash before I get excited. Be like, oh, here's a check. I'll be like, oh, I bounced. I'll be like, oh well. I don't get excited for stuff unless it actually happens. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 beta early begins August 21st. What else we got going on here? What is this? A new handheld device. Supreme Analog Pocket. Metallic portable handheld multi-video game system. Let's see. Compatible with 2,780 plus Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, Game Boy Advance game cartridges library. Works with the cartridge adapter for other handheld systems, built-in synchronizer and sequencer, micro SD card reader, custom logo LCD. There you go. There's no other information about it, but there you go. Another handheld device. All trying to get their little bits and pieces in there. All right, it's 1:45. I am done for the day. Appreciate it very much. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on 30 and Still Gaming. If you guys missed the podcast on Thursday, we did our 500th episode of Generation X Gaming. Greg Owen, the Kingard, and Fake Wizard all joined us for that. Go check it out if you missed any of it. It was a good show. Other than that, we'll be back, like I said, 8 p.m. tonight to play some video games over on 30 and Still Gaming. If you guys like to get a purchase of a shirt, a hat, a mug, you can go to the apparel store down below. If you'd like to get some music, you can also go to Spotify, stream it, download it, buy it, all these things. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Crimson desert. Than my dreams. Mountains in the distance, rivers in between. Swing a sword, ride a horse, feel the wind blow free. Every road I take, there's something new to see. Hidden stories wait in places off the path. Battles I didn't plan, moments that just happen fast. Every time I think I've seen it all before, there's another reason just to explore.